This is just like a cliché story from a web novel, I muttered to myself, gazing at the chaotic scene before me. A crimson flag emblazoned with a crest fluttered in the wind, a symbol of the raging battle. One day I opened my eyes, and I was already in a medieval fantasy world. The clash of steel on steel echoed through the air, accompanied by the desperate cries of men. I don't know how I got here. One moment I was in my own world, and the next, I was thrust into this violent, unfamiliar reality. Whish! An arrow whizzed by, narrowly missing my head and embedding itself in the ground beside me. To survive, I had no choice but to become a mercenary. I slashed enemies again and again, each swing of my sword a desperate attempt to stay alive in this brutal world. The metallic tang of blood filled my nostrils, and the ground beneath my feet grew slick with it. Thud! A heavily armored soldier fell before me, his life extinguished in an instant. Wayag! A hulking barbarian roared, charging towards me with a bloodied axe. His eyes were wild with bloodlust, and his every step shook the earth. Clang! I parried his attack, the force of the blow sending vibrations up my arm. Stay focused! A female voice shouted intensely from horseback. Her long hair streamed behind her as she expertly wielded her sword, cutting down enemies with ruthless efficiency. You'll be dead in the blink of an eye, she yelled. Don't let your guard down for even a moment on the battlefield. Each word was a stark reminder of the harsh reality of this world. Now, blow the trumpet, she commanded. A soldier beside her raised a long, curved horn to his lips. Phoo! The sound of the trumpet echoed through the air, a signal to advance. All forces, charge! The soldiers around me surged forward, a tide of steel and fury crashing against the enemy lines. Slash! Stab! Bodies fell left and right, painting the battlefield in a gruesome tapestry of crimson. Now all I wish for in this world is to survive. The setting sun cast long shadows across the field, illuminating the carnage in a macabre glow. Huff, huff! I leaned heavily on my sword, my breath coming in ragged gasps. You survived this time too, a familiar voice said. I turned to see a woman approaching me, her armor stained with blood. She walked slowly and calmly through the bodies. She reached out and gently touched my face. Let me take a look, just making sure your handsome face didn't get hurt. Her touch was surprisingly gentle, a stark contrast to the brutality of the battle we had just fought. Huh? It's all good, the woman said, turning his attention to me. You know, Aaron, I like the rain, her voice soft. Raindrops began to fall, washing away the blood and grime of the battlefield. The sound of the rain was soothing, a balm to my frayed nerves. Let's go east when the war is over. Because it rains a lot there, she suggested, holding out a small, intricately carved box. Don't forget me. Her words were a promise, a flicker of hope in this medieval world. The rain poured down, drenching us to the bone and turning the streets into muddy rivers. Suddenly a whistle blown. Over there! What are you doing? You stupid bastards! Aren't you going to run? We have to catch them before they escape the castle. Got it? A voice bellowed, cutting through the night. Run! Ugh! A group of men scrambled to obey, their fear palpable. Yes, they replied in unison. Captain! Captain! Two men called out, shielding themselves from the rain with makeshift covers. You're here. What about the others? Another man asked, joining them. They'll be here soon. Tap. By the way, who would have thought that the gentle Hans would cause such a big accident? One of them mused. Huh! I've always thought he was a pain in the ass. The other retorted. Hans, that bastard, is a mage. You can't trust mages in the first place. The man continued with disdain. A mage, huh? So magic exists in this world too. He must have made a pact with a demon, for sure. A demon? I whispered, a chill running down my spine. What nonsense about demons? You're just jealous of Hans because you lost the nickname handsome to him. The men retorted. Oh, you've never been called handsome in the first place, right? He chimed in. What the hell? Who's taking nicknames from whom? Bastard? The first man exclaimed. Huh? Where are you going, Captain? Headquarters. The captain, seemingly fed up with their antics, turned and walked away, leaving the others to follow. By the way, Hans' nickname will change from now on. It'll be like Hans, who's handsome even if only his head is left. They chuckled. Humph. He'll probably be hanged if we catch him. Knock, knock. The sound of someone knocking on a heavy wooden door broke the silence. Isn't it a bit late, Captain Aaron? A voice asked from within. The door opened, revealing a portly man in ornate armor. Kasarek Outer Fortress Guard Commander, Manuel. I'm a bit late because I fell into a deep sleep. Aaron responded, his tone apologetic. By the way, I heard that you were quite close with the criminal Hans. Is it true? Manuel inquired. It's true, to some extent. Brother Aaron. Hans was an unusually intelligent boy at an early age. He got into the academy, Aaron admitted with a sadness in his voice. A younger version of Hans, full of youthful energy, flashed before my eyes. We remained close even after he entered the Magic Academy. But, no, we barely exchanged greetings as we passed by. Saying yes now will only complicate things. Aaron explained. Really? Well, that's fortunate. Manuel replied. This incident is not a simple crime. This is an incident related to the Lord's daughter. That guy stole something that should not be stolen. Editor note. Despite his name, Hans is a man of culture. You will understand by the end of the chapter. In such a critical situation, if our cathartic guards capture the criminal, don't you think this will please the Lord? Manuel exclaimed. He chuckled. Do you know what I mean now? Bring him in dead or alive. This incident involves the Lord himself. I will do my best. Oh God, this is annoying. A sense of unease settling over him. Because of that damn Hans, I'm almost in danger of losing my head. Aaron muttered under his breath. Captain. Cathartic Outer Fortress Guard Unit 4. Everything has been set up. A group of soldiers stood at attention. No matter how crazy those mage are, could Hans really be hiding in this filthy District 7? And that brat has a weak stomach too. They patrolled the rain-soaked streets. That's right. We don't want to be wandering around in District 7, where it has no proper toilet, and getting soaked in the rain. The smell is blue. Another added, his face contorted in disgust. So how about we just pretend to look for him and grab a beer somewhere instead? Sounds great, right? Shut your mouth. Aaron roared. His eyes blazed with anger, and his hand went to the hilt of his sword. Yes, sir. The soldiers immediately fell silent, their heads bowed in submission. Honestly, these foolish medieval idiots. Talking about drinking even when their heads are on the line. Ugh, anyway, this neighborhood is really filthy, Aaron thought. As he continued his search, he noticed a figure huddled in a doorway. Hey, brown hoodie. Aaron called out, approaching the figure cautiously. This is the Outer Fortress Guard. Take off your hood for a second. The figure slowly raised his head, revealing a familiar face. Fufu. A faint smile played on the man's lips. Ah, it's been a while. Aaron. Hehehe. Finally we. But Aaron cut him off with a swift punch to the gut. Thud. The man crumpled to the ground, gasping for air. Ugh. You bastard. You're the one who got caught, because you caused some problems, right? Aaron growled. I don't think so. Who are you? I'm just the herbalist in this alley, though. I was about to report a theft. The hooded man replied. A bald, middle-aged man. False alarm. He is ugly, not handsome like Hans. Ah, no wonder you looked familiar. Eek. Aaron feigning recognition. The bald man, seemingly startled, tried to shrink back. That's not the response I expected from you. Why are you hitting me out of the blue and causing a scene? The bald man cried out. Ugh. Damn it. What a crappy day this turned out to be. Aaron muttered, turning his attention back to the hooded man. Ugh. All the herbs was stolen, and now I got beaten by the guards. The bald man continued to whine. But seriously, what was so urgent for that thief to steal such a common grimroot? You can find it all over the hills behind the town. Wait. If it's grimroot leaves, it's used to stop bleeding. That herb thief, where did the thief go? Aaron's thoughts raced, creating a steady rhythm on the rooftops. The hooded man, Hans, shivered in the cold. Hans. Aaron said, his voice soft. What's with that look? You're the one who always keeps things clean, and now you're pathetically cutting off your own hand. Hans had cut himself. It's over now. Just come with me while I'm being nice. Aaron said. I'd still not. Hans stammered. He coughed, a wet, rattling sound. TSK. Aaron's eyes narrowed as he noticed the strange liquid dripping from Hans's hand. It was water magic, forming droplets and tendrils in the air. The water swirled and danced, defying gravity. Magic? It's filthy and a huge pain. Is it because of the rain? Aaron muttered, his eyes fixed on the water. I'm sorry, brother. I can't get caught yet. The whirlwind approached Aaron. Dodge. It's still not over yet. He gathered the water magic around him, forming a swirling vortex. Water magic on a rainy day. What an annoying coincidence. He braced himself, preparing for a fight. If that's the case, I'll overpower the mage. He focused his energy, his own power surging within him. Hurry up. Just shut your mouth, Hans. Hans struggled to maintain his concentration. His water magic lashed out, striking at Aaron. Mage! Aaron grunted, deflecting the attack with his sword. Brother! Hans's voice was faint, his strength rapidly fading. He coughed again, blood trickling from the corner of his mouth. Will you spare me, brother? Hans pleaded, his eyes filled with fear. I've heard rumors that you signed a contract with the demon. If that's true, there will be a scar near the heart, Aaron said. He approached Hans, his gaze searching. He gently lifted Hans's shirt, revealing a smooth, unblemished chest. It's clean. Hans, why did you do something like that, even though you're not a demon's minion? It's going to be hard for you to understand, even if I tell you now. But someday, you'll find out, Hans replied. He smiled weakly. Search this area too. Ha! A guard's voice. Damn it. I'm going crazy, Aaron ordered, his voice heavy with exhaustion. He grabbed a small vial from his belt and poured a few drops of liquid onto Hans's wound. Aord! Hans screamed in pain, his body convulsing. It's a recovery potion. Don't be ridiculous and follow me, Aaron said. Hans coughed. Ugh! Is losing an arm for stealing enough for a punishment? Unfortunately, it's not up to me to judge. Because in this damned medieval time, it's either innocent or hanging. Aaron said. He turned away from Hans, his shoulders slumping. Get lost, Aaron said. Brother, Hans whispered, smack. Aaron slapped him. Stop calling me brother and just get lost, Aaron yelled. Thanks, brother, Hans said. This is the only area left. Search every corner. A voice shouted in the distance. In this small fortress of the Kasardic eastern frontier, Hans had completely disappeared. Handsome Hans, kind Hans, friendly Hans. That's all the names that were used for Kasardic ladies' undergarments theft. Editor note, all this for a panties thief. They got us with the demon stuff. I think it an ice-skate Japanese man. That pervert bastard. In the medieval world, where cleanliness, law, and ethics are utterly primitive, I am the guard captain in this damned chaotic world. Thump! Verman slammed his fist on the table. Damn it! Hans, that rat-like bastard. Just where did he disappear to? Around the table sat his men, a motley crew of weary and disgruntled guards. I can't believe that we can't find him even after searching all over Kasardic Fortress, muttered Kale, the previous handsome man of the unit. Hans, that punk is quite good, huh? That punk is a mage, right? It's possible that he used magic to run away, right? Chimed in Brig, the youngest of the group. Brig, you idiot, if everything was possible using magic, why do we even have arms? Scoffed Poole, known as Snake Eyes, shooting Brig a withering look. Is that so? Brig mumbled. Q quiet. Please be quiet. Carter, nicknamed Sleepyhead, mumbled from the floor. Carter. Ah. Verman, known as Second Place, unofficially of course, sighed. I wasn't even able to sleep for 5 hours in the past 3 days. I'm so tired, I feel like I'm dying. Carter continued. Mumble. You won't die just because you lack sleep. Verman said. No. Poole interjected. This punk will die. That's true. I mean, it's Carter. Brig added, nodding in agreement. The others chuckled. They all knew that Carter was so lazy that he threw up once, because he was too sleepy. Anyways, the search is over. For now, everyone should rest well, Verman declared, attempting to restore some order. I am still in the second place. You punk, why are you acting all proud? Verman said while laughing. Fufu. Kasardic Outer Fortress Guard, Captain of Unit 4. Was it Aaron? A voice called out from the doorway. A man stood there, silhouetted against the dim light, a cigarette dangling from his lips. Phew. He took a long drag. Nice to meet you. He exhaled a cloud of smoke. Hugh. Cough. I'm William. Constable William. Someone who can cut my neck with just one word, or put me in the underground prison for the rest of my life. Aaron thinking. The vertex of Kasardic's guards. I heard that you were close to the criminal Hans. William continued. Furthermore, you continued to patrol the last remaining District 7 all alone, so you failed to discover anything in District 7. Coincidentally, it's an area where the internal guards can't look into. You let him go, right? He paused, his gaze piercing. Oh, There's nothing else there aside from poop. Aaron retorted, meeting William's gaze without flinching. Huh? William raised an eyebrow. Commander of the External Guard. Why yes. Manuel responded with trembling voice. He was sweating bullets. The cigarettes you gave taste very well. William said. I think it's from Kennelt Street. You actually managed to get this expensive item with such a small salary. William said with sarcasm. I got that from a very distant relative as a gift. Manuel, his face turning pale. Fine. You wouldn't have stolen nor embezzled it, right? William's gaze bore into Manuel, his eyes cold and calculating. Oh, of course not. Then he moved to Aaron. Listen to me carefully. Anyone in this castle, those who commit a crime or helped, will die in my hands. It'll be good for you to keep that in mind. His gaze lingered on Aaron for a moment before he turned and walked away. Aaron watched him go with fake smile. Yes, I'll keep that in mind. Get home safely, Captain. The men shouted after Aaron as he departed. Okay. The damn Middle Ages with no sense of human rights. How long was the investigation? Clench. Hans, that punk. It seems that he managed to escape without getting caught. Tap tap. Suddenly, he heard a commotion coming from a nearby inn. Kai-ah! A woman's scream pierced the night. Thud. W, what are you doing? Ha ha ha. The inn owner is so pretty. We can't leave because it's such a shame, right? Stop, let go of my hand. A woman's voice cried out in distress. Grab. Hey, I told you to treat her like a gentleman, a man's voice said. Dylan. The lady is misunderstanding it. We just haven't been in this village for a long time, so we're trying to make some local friends. If possible, a friendship that can share the bed all night. The man continued. Ha 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 ha. The men burst into laughter. Ha ha. You look like mercenaries from another country. If you keep being like this, there'll be a really difficult and bothersome situation. The inn owner, Henna, said. Ha ha, before you regret it, let's stop right here. And if we don't want to? Dylan retorted. Step, step, step. What are you going to do? He grabbed Henna roughly, pulling her close. Do you think that some kind of guard will come for you? He sneered. There's no way that those guys will come to take care of an isolated, shabby inn. Dylan's voice was filled with contempt. Thud. Henna's eyes widened in surprise as she saw someone standing in the doorway. Oh. Dylan and the men in the pub turned to look, their expressions shifting to amusement. Oh, Aaron! Henna cried out. Aaron stood in the doorway, his silhouette framed against the dim light. He stepped into the inn, his gaze sweeping over the scene. Dylan and his men froze, their eyes fixed on Aaron. Aaron met their gaze. 10 days. Aaron finally spoke. 5 days. It's less than the last time. Henna exclaimed from behind Dylan. And you're a guard. Isn't this your job in the first place? 9 days. The captain of the guards clocked off already. 6 days. I can't go higher. The 3 thugs stood there, bewildered by the exchange. How dare you ignore us? Dylan finally snapped, his face contorted in rage. This devilish bastard. He lunged at Aaron, his fist aimed at his head. Swing. Aaron moved with lightning speed, his hand reaching out and grabbing one of Dylan's minions. Crack! A sickening crunch echoed through the room as Aaron twisted Minion's skull. You have such a medieval foul-talking habit, Aaron said, his voice calm despite the violence of his actions. Henna. Free lodging for 6 days and free dinner for today. He turned to Henna, a slight smile on his face. Tombre kug. Deal? Aaron asked, his gaze fixed on Henna. Deal? Although I don't know what a deal is. Henna agreed, nodding her head vigorously. All right then, from now on. Aaron turned back to the minion, his grip tightening on his arm. Cog. Ag! Screamed in agony as Aaron applied more pressure. Crack! Whoosh! Aaron delivered a swift kick, sending Dylan flying across the room. Thud! It's time to educate these horrible medieval people. Aaron's eyes glowed red, and his body was shrouded in a dark aura. You ugh! Dylan groaned, struggling to get up. Thud thud ag! Thud, it's starting. There are no bad medieval people. Aaron's voice was cold. Crack! There are only those who need to be beaten up more. He raised his fist, ready to deliver another blow. Crack! Once each of you takes a hit. Crack! You'll become nicer. Thud! Aaron rained down blows on Dylan and his me. As I thought. Aaron! I've been waiting for the day these thugs come, the people shouted while holding a mug. Henna, give us one more cup. Cheered, raising their mugs in the air. Clink. The reason why we become regulars in this Laughing Rabbit Inn is because there's a monster living here. The greatest human cleaner in Caserdic. Rogue Captain of the Guards Aaron. We're all followers of this Rogue Captain of the Guards. Aaron, kill him. Hit him one more time, Aaron. They chanted, their cheers echoing through the inn. Thump thump. Those people are being like that again. Aaron muttered to himself. One day I should give them a lesson too. Dylan drew his sword. Swish. Hey, are you going to take that out? Grab. Aaron grabbed him. No, he. Fwish, the sound of a sword being sheathed. Captain of Outer Fortress Guard Unit 4, Aaron, clock off success. Aaron had dealt with the thugs, restoring order to the inn. He lay in bed. He has no name? Then let's call him Aaron. Flashback to a burning battlefield, a woman's voice echoing in his ears. Aaron, run away. Don't look back. You must live on. Aaron. Swish. Huff, huff. He was covered in sweat, his breath coming in ragged gasps. After the nightmare, at dawn. Slash a sword practice. It's already been 6 years since I fell into this world. Until when will I be able to maintain this daily routine? That's a sword with no frills. A man in ornate armor remarked, examining Aaron's swordsmanship. I didn't know that there's a skilled man in the borders of Caserdic. I'm very surprised. Aaron was inspecting this guy's body. An armor with the symbol of Funner family. And a spiral rapier. This bastard. Aaron muttered, recognizing the man's insignia. The man was a knight. Knight. A group that handles auras and fights against demons, surpassing the human limits. The sword of humanity. If it's that brat from the Funner family, then that guy is a knight from faraway Bolt Fortress. Why did someone like him come all the way to Caserdic? Don't tell me the Empire sent him? Aaron wondered, gripping his sword hilt tightly. Ah, there's nothing to be wary of. I just get excited at your sword skill without realizing it, the knight, Ben said. By the way, are you a knight of some order? Ben, a voice suddenly called out. So you're here, a woman with long, flowing blonde hair said, approaching Ben and Aaron gracefully. How can an escort leave me behind? She scolded playfully. She is the only daughter of the Foolpoots family, Caserdic Lord's family, Vivian Foolpoots. Oh my, you're in the middle of a conversation? I apologize for the interruption, Dash. Aaron bowed his head respectfully. I am a member of the Caserdic Outer Fortress Guard Unit 4, Aaron. He introduced himself, kneeling on one knee. Greeting the young lady of Caserdic, Miss Vivian. Oh my. Nice to meet you, Captain Aaron. I heard you had a lot of trouble because of my undergarments last time. I'm so sorry about that. Even though I said it was nothing, my father still made a fuss. It's fine. What is the reason that young Lady Vivian is being escorted by a knight from Bolt Fortress? Well then, we'll be on our way. It seems like Sir Ben might have interrupted your training, Vivian said, turning to leave. Ah, Captain Aaron, please continue to work hard for the security of Caserdic Fortress, she added, waving goodbye. Yeah? That guy is a guard member? It's strange. I'm sure he's a knight, Ben thought, looking back at Aaron with a puzzled expression. Well, I smell something fishy, but it's not my business. I'd better just head to work, Aaron thought, scratching his head. No, a loud, blood-curdling scream echoed. Come here. Huh? What happened? Aaron rushing towards the source of the scream with urgency. In this medieval world, there are no turn signals. He arrived at the imposing Caserdic inner fortress. HAA. Aaron gasped, entering a room in a hurry. Hey, or have you lost your mind, you bastard? Didn't I tell you to be selective about who you hit? Why did you turn the mercenaries that the inner fortress hired into corpses? Huh? This time go solve it yourself and come back, Manuel ordered. Ugh, I can't believe those bullies are mercenaries hired from the Winter Fortress. And on top of that, the official in charge. Aaron grumbled, knocking on a door. Come in, a voice shouted from inside, the door cracking open. Aaron entered to find a woman sitting at a desk, scribbling furiously. You're looking for me? Nova. Is it you again, Aaron? What kind of guard captain is causing trouble all the time? If you don't think your job suits you, quit it quickly. Don't make it difficult for many people. Nova, Caserdic Castle's administrative officer, his eyes glowing with menacing red. As expected from Nova. The best officer that has a babbling spirit. However, I also have a plan for this time. How to win a woman's favor. It's not difficult at all, Kale declared. Special instructor, the only eligible bachelor of Unit 4 Kale. First, make sure to keep a soft smile around your mouth, with a wink. And Nova? Aaron said, forcing a smile on his face. Nova stared back, utterly bewildered. Second, give the woman sweet, specific compliments. A praise that can even make a whale dance. Today, your plump hair looks just like a perfectly ripened orange. It makes me want to taste it right now. I think something went wrong. Kale confused by the lack of reaction. Is this guy completely going insane? Never mind. Dealing with you just gives me a headache. The mercenaries you knocked out yesterday were originally meant to be sent to Bold Fortress. Oh really? But those guys were more like piles of dung than mercenaries. Even if I sent them as they are, they'd still serve their purpose. Aaron retorted. Just shut your mouth. Anyway, now that it has come to this, you'll have to fill in for those mercenaries. No refusal. I'll provide compensation, and it's all your mess to clean up. I'm okay. It's all my mess after all. But what exactly is going on? Aaron asked. The carriage escort. A horse-drawn carriage was surrounded by a large group of people. There are a lot of people for an escort carriage, no? Moreover, most of the escorts seem to be other mercenaries. It looks like they're gearing up for a battle or something big. Why don't I feel good about this one? Aaron thought with suspicion. Hey, who will ride this carriage? Aaron asked. What? You're the weasel from before. Huh? Why this monster here? Weasel, you said? You're the monster? I'm stronger than you thought, you know? I heard all your friends are still on the brink of death. Do you have more resilience than your look? Did you get hit less than others? Why you can call me older brother. Ah, the sun is already set. Will we be camping on the first day? I heard we'll be staying in a small village nearby. One of the escorts asked, looking around. Small village nearby? If it's a small village, Aaron thought. They arrived at Outer Kasurdik, Noctville village, under the pale light of the full moon. Hey, did you hear it? They said the entire village is completely empty. Did everyone run away together? It seems so. I thought it wasn't a bad harvest year or anything. The escorts gossiped among themselves. Is it the work of demons or something like that? One of them whispered. SSSHHH. Don't say that. Another escort hushed him sharply. Huh? Where are you going? Older brother. Let's go together. Brother Aaron, running after Aaron anxiously. Aye. She watched them depart. A crow cawed ominously in the night, its cry echoing through the deserted village. Wait, brother. Where are you going as soon as we arrive at this small village? Is there something going on in this small village? Where have all the people here been to, by the way? Dylan asked, following Aaron through the eerily silent streets. I remember. Mr. Knight. Whoa. Is it really for me? Thank you, Mr. Knight. If you come to our village, please don't forget to visit me, a young boy said, holding a book with a red cover and intricate gold designs. The boy smiled. Huh. It was a pool of dark, glistening blood. Arg. What is that? Blood? Dylan cried out with horror. Hey, weasel. Don't look up, Aaron warned. What? Dylan asked, confused and terrified. He looked up to see a horrifying sight, bodies impaled on spikes, a gruesome display of violence. Ugh. Dylan gasped, his face pale with terror as he looked around. Aaron, a disgusted look on his face. Guard Captain Aaron? What are you doing here? Why are you here? Vivian asked, approaching Aaron with a curious. Lady Vivian, Aaron said. A steaming pot of stew bubbled. Over a crackling fire, the aroma of meat filling the air. This is the first time I've seen a stew with this much meat, one of the mercenaries commented, sitting by the fire with a wooden bowl in hand. If the food had been awful too, I would have deserted, another added, taking a large spoonful. These guys seem so laid back. How can they eat after seeing those corpses? Dylan wondered, looking around nervously at the mercenaries, his own appetite gone. He shuddered, remembering the gruesome scene of the impaled bodies, the image seared into his mind. I wonder which crazy bastard did something like that. It was a sacrifice, a man said as he walked past him. What you found is a kind of ritual, a dark and twisted ceremony, where humans are offered to demons, he explained. You two haven't eaten yet. Would you like a sip of wine? A man offered, approaching Aaron with a wineskin in his hand. I'll pass. Alcohol dulls my senses, Aaron declined, his hand resting on the hilt of his sword. What about you? The man asked Dylan, offering him the wineskin. Ah, I never turned down a drink. Dylan accepted, taking a swig from the bottle, the liquid burning his throat. If you throw up again, I'll kill you, Aaron warned. I'm John, the commander of this convoy. I haven't seen your faces before. Are you mercenaries? John asked, looking at Aaron and Dylan with a curious gaze. I'm Aaron. Not a mercenary, just doing part-time work. Part-time? Anyway, make sure to eat well and rest whenever you can. This journey might be tougher than expected, John said. He sighed. Huh? Dylan asked, confused by John's words. Look over there, Dylan shouted, pointing towards a building where a group of people stood. Among them were Vivian Ben. They say she's called the Flower of the East. One of the men commented, his eyes fixed on Vivian. I saw her earlier too, she's really beautiful. Another added, a dreamy look on his face. I had a feeling this wasn't an ordinary escort mission, but I didn't expect Lady Caserdic and her knight to be in that carriage. John muttered. Aaron remained silent, his gaze fixed on the scene. What happened earlier? Lady Vivian. Why are you here? Aaron asked. Oh, just out for a little outing. It was suffocating to stay inside the castle all the time, so I'm heading to Bolt Fortress on my father's suggestion. Vivian replied cheerfully. Your father? Are you talking about the Lord? That's enough. Knowing too much comes with heavy responsibilities, Sir Ben said, interrupting her. Only know what's appropriate for your position. Aaron, captain of the guards, Ben added, looking at Aaron sternly. So the Lord sent the lady to Bolt Fortress, Aaron thought, trying to piece together the puzzle. You seem oddly calm. A demon might appear, doesn't that scare you? Well, don't we have a knight on our side? Knights are trained solely to fight demons, the Empire's elite force. As long as I have this sword, he touched the hilt of his sword, with even the slimmest chance of survival. I've always made it out alive, Aaron replied. Unfortunately, though. Is that so? Then I wish you luck, John said, sitting down by the fire with Aaron and Dylan, the flickering flames casting long shadows around them. They stared at the untouched, cold stew in the pot, the silence heavy between them. Aaron picked up a nearby book, its cover worn and faded. He ran his fingers over the worn pages. So is it fun? Aaron asked. Yes, sir, a young boy with blonde hair replied, holding the same book, his eyes shining with excitement. It's been quite a while since we last saw each other. Horn must have grown taller, Aaron said. Suddenly, a figure approached Aaron. He struck him, his fist connecting with a sickening thud. Aaron's eyes widened in shock. The monster's face was bloody and disfigured, his eyes rolled back, his mouth agape. G-U-H. You. The monster groaned, his body twitching violently, blood trickling from his mouth. Get lost, Aaron ordered, kicking the boy away with a powerful thrust of his leg. The boy fell to the ground with a sickening thud, his body contorting unnaturally, his limbs at unnatural angles. What the hell is this? Zombie? Where did it suddenly come from? Af. Aaron wondered, scratching his head in confusion. Get the fuck away, you monster bastard. Grah! Dylan shouted, trying to fight off the zombie, his face contorted in terror. Ghew! The zombie groaned. Dylan looked on in horror, frozen in place. Brother Aaron, he cried out with desperation. Where on earth are you going at this hour, leaving me behind? Stop freaking out for a second, where is everyone else? Grabbing Aaron by the leg. We're completely fucked, brother, Dylan exclaimed with tears streaming down his face. The mercenaries, the soldiers, everyone. They're all asleep and won't wake up, he reported, pointing to the sleeping figures lying around the camp. It's like they've been put under some kind of sleeping spell. If it's magic, how come only Weasel and I are fine? Aaron wondered, his brow furrowed in thought. They drugged the stew, he realized. Since it wasn't poison but a sleeping agent, their goal is to capture someone alive. And that someone is probably, he thought, his gaze shifting towards the carriage where Vivian was, his mind racing. Hey brother? Dylan stammered, tugging at Aaron's arm nervously, his eyes wide with fear. I think we're fucked, he said, looking around at the approaching zombies, their groans filling the night. Graph! Heek! The zombies growled, their eyes glowing with an eerie light. Time to come out. I guess I'll warm up with these slow-ass zombie bastards before the real game starts. He drew his sword, the metal gleaming in the moonlight, a dark aura surrounding him. He charged at the zombies, slashing through them. That woke you up, didn't it? The remaining zombies were slashed into pieces. Aaron stood amidst a pile of dismembered zombies, his sword dripping with blood. It began to rain, the drops washing away the blood and gore. He looked down at the bodies, his eyes scanning the area. There's still one left, he muttered, noticing a figure standing in the distance. His eyes narrowed. Gah! You! The figure groaned, its hands reaching out, its body swaying. Grah! The figure, revealed to be Horn, lunged at Aaron, his eyes red and blood dripping from his mouth, a low growl emanating from his throat. As expected, you've grown a bit taller, Horn, Aaron said, his voice tinged with sadness. He raised his sword, preparing to strike, the metal gleaming in the dim light. 2 years ago, I hid in a village from my chasers, as a flashback of a lush, green forest appeared. Mr. Knight, a young, freckled boy with bright eyes called out, his voice filled with admiration. Hey kid, who are you calling Mr. Knight? Aaron asked, lounging on the ground, his eyes closed. Why? I saw it in a book. Knights are strong and cool, the boy Horn exclaimed, lying on the ground next to Aaron. Horn, the son of a village farmer, is a boy who loves books, Aaron continued. It's because you're the strongest and coolest person I've ever seen, Horn declared, holding up a book with a drawing of a knight on it. You really love to talk nonsense. Aaron chuckled, affectionately ruffling Horn's hair. Stop it, Horn protested, laughing as Aaron messed up his hair. I liked him, Aaron confessed, as a warm smile spread across Aaron's face in the memory. The scene shifted to the present, a rainy night, the drops falling heavily, turning the ground to mud, as Aaron looked down sadly. Even after settling in Casertic Fortress, I still come here to visit him, Aaron's face etched with sorrow. Really? Yeah, there is a library full of books in the city. And librarians at the library are buried between books all day long. Aaron told stories to an eager Horn. Horn listened mesmerized. Aaron, in the memory, was chopping wood, while he spoke animatedly to the young boy. I want to do that. To be a librarian, Horn exclaimed. He held a book tightly, looking up at Aaron with admiration. To be in between books all day long? His smile wide and innocent. For a bookworm like you, it must be a perfect fit. You can try that. Some say that demon feeds on human fear, Aaron said, wielding a sword in the rain, as he begins to strike. Suddenly the sword stopped. Hey kid, why does your face look like that? Aaron asked. A memory surfaced. I got a bit of a beating from my father. I told him I wanted to become a librarian. However, he said the son of a farmer can only be a farmer. Horn confessed, tears welling up in his eyes. That's not true. Demons eat human despair, Aaron reassured him, standing tall and unwavering. Aaron rushed, he knelt, embracing Horn protectively. I'm not a knight. Grah! Aaron addressing the past Horn. I'm just a fortress guard captain, Aaron said, as he held Horn close, his hands stained with blood. He gripped the boy's shirt. Horn was not there anymore, just a body. Aaron held Horn tightly. The rain poured down, washing away the blood and gore, the village silent except for the sound of the falling rain. Aaron was surrounded by fallen bodies, standing in the middle of the carnage. Brother! Dylan's terrified voice broke the silence. I woke up all the guys who were just sleeping around. Guys, stab and beat them. Wipe out all of the zombies. Dylan rallied the other mercenaries, charging towards the remaining zombies, their weapons raised. Kill them! Kiek! Aaron roared. He covered Horn's eyes with his hand. Just rest in peace, Horn, he whispered, kneeling beside the boy's lifeless body. I hope nothing more will happen after death, Aaron said, as the mercenaries fought the zombies around him, their cries and the clash of metal filling the air. A building suddenly burst into flames, the fire spreading rapidly, illuminating the night sky. What happened over there? That building is where the young lady is staying, a mercenary exclaimed, pointing towards the burning building. I'll avenge you, Aaron vowed, his eyes fixed on the burning building, his grip tightening on his sword. Blood splattering from his body. Due to rumors that someone is targeting the young lady at Casertic Fortress, we were secretly heading to Bolt Fortress. Ben explained. That rumor was true. I never expected that you'd even target a secret procession like this. However, holding a sword to protect a lady is the happiness and romance of a knight, right? Even if the opponent is a wicked demon, it doesn't matter. Ben said. Therefore, step back now, you disgusting fellow. Ben ordered. So you're a knight that likes to yap? The creature growled, its red eyes glowing in the darkness. But even if you try to buy time with that nonsense, your wounds won't heal quickly. It was a dagger coated with a vicious poison. Besides, you must have eaten the stew as well, right? Thanks to the effect of the poison. Your mind must be foggy, right? Do you think you have a chance? The creature mocked. Of course, your actions are just as vile to me. Maybe it's because of your ugly appearance. This son of a bitch? The creature growled, its body transforming, becoming more monstrous, its arm covered in grotesque eyes. Be careful with your words, it roared as it lunged at Ben, its claws extended. It struck at Ben, who blocked the attack. Is it about half of my full skill level? My aura is barely noticeable, Ben thought, struggling against the creature's strength. However, that guy still only has demonic erosion on his one arm. So, I will quickly target the areas that haven't gotten demonic erosion as soon as he gets trapped in my provocation. Ben planned, as he prepared to counterattack. Oh, there's still a chance to win, Ben thought, gritting his teeth as he launched a counterattack, his sword flashing in the darkness. He struck at the creature. Cough! Ben coughed, blood splattering from his mouth as the creature struck him. Did you think I'd die if you stabbed the part of my body that hasn't still transformed yet? Kiak! Kiuk! The creature mocked, its laughter echoing through the night. Do you think you'll die in the hands of a mere knight like you? It roared. I'll kill you. Kiuk! Suddenly, I came to avenge Horn, Aaron declared, attacking the creature. He struck it. So accept it as you like, Aaron said, looking at the creature. Take it like a man, Aaron said. Slash! He moved with blinding speed, his sword cutting through the air. Aarg! The demon man roared in pain. Who the hell are you? Demon man moved closer. Grab! Slash! A swift and brutal strike. Arg! The demon man howled, his body convulsing in agony. Damn it! He cursed. What the hell is that? He stared at his arm, his monstrous limb. Because of some bastard who isn't even a knight, I ended up wasting precious blood. He spat. Before we run out of the blood offered as a sacrifice, we need to quickly hand over that woman. His gaze shifted towards Vivian, who lay unconscious nearby. Creak, creak. Aaron stood in front of the demon, his sword dripping with blood. Horn, who's turned into a zombie, he thought, his eyes filled with a dark resolve. This revenge is for him, he declared. Swing. He swung his sword, aiming for the demon man's neck. Slash! Aaron was sent flying. The demon's eyes widened in surprise. Heal up quickly, Aaron said. He was kneeling, his body covered in wounds. Every time you recover, I'll just cut you down. Arg! Fucking hell! You little fly-like bastard! The demon man screamed. His monstrous arm was still twitching. Huh! The demon man's eyes widened in alarm. This is bad. It has already started sucking my blood. He realized, his voice filled with panic. Sizzle, sizzle, his monstrous arm began to pulsate, the veins throbbing as it drained his blood. At this rate, I'll be completely consumed. Tap. Aaron casually flicked the blood off his mouth. What the hell? I thought you could take a hit or two, but you're nothing but a weakling, Aaron taunted. The demon man's face contorted in rage. Horn's revenge, Aaron declared. He raised his sword, preparing for another strike. This crazy bastard? Who the hell is Horn to you, for you to go this far? Teach this guy. He's not even a knight, where's all this strength coming from? He thought, his mind reeling from the unexpected turn of events. Slash. Suddenly. Swash. Well, you're not just big, huh? A new voice interjected. John, the convoy commander, approached, his eyes fixed on Aaron. Ugh! I was wondering when you'd crawl out. Ho, you're sharp too? John chuckled, his eyes gleaming. Looking like a bear. He lunged at Aaron. Clang! Their swords clashed, the sound echoing through the ruins. But inside, you're a real fox. John continued. Since the villagers were sacrificed, and you showed up right on time, I can't help but suspect you, the one in charge. He pressed his attack, his sword whistling through the air. If it weren't for you, it would have been all over by now, John retorted, while Aaron parrying John's blows. Clang! Clang! Flick, flick. John's monstrous arm twitched, the eyes on it blinking rapidly. Recovery in your name, he muttered. It's too late. The demon voice echoed from his severed arm. What? John exclaimed. Your body is no longer needed. The arm pulsed, its grip tightening around John. And no. Wait, the man pleaded, his voice filled with terror. The blood. I'll offer the blood right now. He struggled against the arm's grasp, his movements desperate. I found a more delicious-looking body. The demon voice echoed from the arm, filled with a sinister glee. Crack! Shit! This cheap sword, Aaron muttered, examining his now damaged blade. Did it get dull fighting that demon? He wondered. It's over, John declared. His body had been completely taken over by the demon. He lunged at Aaron, his movements faster and more powerful than before. D! He roared, his voice inhuman. A real counter-punch. The force of the blow sending him flying. Gah! John grunted in pain, his body crashing to the ground. Damn it! He struggled to get up, his body aching. This kind of guy wasn't in my calculations. He lay on the ground, his body battered and broken. The demon, now fully in control of John's body, approached Aaron. In the end, Aaron muttered, his gaze fixed on the approaching demon. You got completely devoured by the demon? It was now a towering monstrosity, its body a grotesque fusion of human and demon. Foul creature, answer me. This great being will take you from now on. So what will you do now? The demon asked Aaron, its voice booming. It loomed over him, its shadow casting a pall over the ruined building. You don't even have the strength to swing your sword. The demon taunted. Clang. Aaron's sword fell from his grasp, clattering on the ground. And you're not even a knight. The demon continued. Aaron lashed. Tell me, what can you possibly do now? It mocked. Those disgusting huge eyes of yours. Aaron gasped, his voice filled with defiance. I still have the strength to tear them apart. He roared. Impressive. The demon's monstrous form was unfazed. Hey, what's going on here? A familiar voice echoed from the background. Give me my money back right now, way. Followed by a commotion. I know you tricked me with the dice. What? What's all this fuss about? Can't trust your comrades. Let's put this down and talk. Stop talking and give me my money. Before I crush you. The sounds of a scuffle could be heard. Gladiator Galgai and a bald, burly man and a lanky man with a sly grin were revealed. Gumbler Way. Mage Avery and a woman in a red cloak and another in revealing attire appeared. Way, that's enough, give Galgai his money back. The red-haired woman, Avery, intervened. The comrades from my mercenary days. Aaron muttered, recognizing the group. Ha, Deputy Commander, how can I give back the money I won? Way protested, only to be cut off by a swift punch from Galgai. Ugh! He crumpled to the ground. Tap Aaron, someone reached out and grabbed Aaron's shoulder. Kiddo. Commander, addressed Aaron. You haven't forgotten, right? Commander, his body riddled with arrows and his sword impaled through his chest, spoke. You must survive. At all costs. The ghostly figures of his fallen comrades surrounded him. You are truly delicious. The demon said, its voice filled with a sinister hunger. It was preparing to consume Aaron. Aaron, his eyes wide with shock. You've finally woken up. Ben's voice cut through the silence. Have you come to your senses now, Captain Aaron? He asked, a hint of mockery in his smile. So you're still alive. Aaron muttered. That should be my line. Ben chuckled. I thought you had already died since your presence was getting weaker and weaker. Aaron casually brushed off his coat. Rustle, rustle. What? My body is perfectly fine. Aaron looked at his hands, then his feet, confused. His wounds had vanished, and the pain had subsided. I found you unconscious when I woke up. Ben said, stepping aside. What happened? Just now, my memories. Aaron muttered, his mind still foggy with confusion. However, Ben continued, his smile shifting into a more serious expression. That demon was also lying next to you. He pointed towards a still form lying at the foot of a ruined door. It was your doing, right? Ben asked, his eyes narrowing slightly. I'm sorry, but I don't remember anything at all. Aaron replied. And as long as it's dead, the method doesn't really matter, does it? Ben chuckled, his hand resting on his hip. Click, by the way. What does this reckless young lady have to do with those demons? He asked, turning to look at Vivian, who was still unconscious in her bed. She looks like she doesn't know that her life is on the line, and is just sleeping comfortably. That is none of your concern, Ben retorted flatly. Ah, I understand, Aaron chuckled. Anyway, we're really indebted to you on this matter. Ben continued, his expression becoming more genuine. Let me formally introduce myself, he said facing Aaron. I'm Ben, a knight from Bolt Fortress. He smiled, his eyes sparkling. Thank you, really, Guard Captain Aaron. He added, his voice sincere. Aaron remained silent, his eyes fixed on Ben. No worries, he replied, the dawn light beginning to illuminate the ruined building. Flicker, flicker, A fire burned in the village square, the flames consuming the bodies of the fallen villagers. So they sacrificed an entire village to summon a demon, Aaron mused, watching the fire. It was all just because they wanted Lady Casertic's life. He muttered. It gives off some unusual smell. Aaron observed, his nose twitching slightly. Once all the bodies were cremated, the procession turned around and returned to Casertic. Aaron stated, recounting what he was told. We also agreed to say that Ben was the one to take care of the demon. He continued. Aaron smiled. Since it was just the two of us who saw it, I thought that it would also be more convenient for me. He explained. Because if people found out that I came in contact with a demon, Aaron said, his expression grim, there is a high chance that the situation will escalate and the church will end up conducting an investigation. Anyway, I survived this time, he said, his voice devoid of emotion. I will also receive compensation, so it's a win-win situation. Aaron muttered to himself. Brother, Dylan suddenly appeared, with a huge smile on his face, wrapping an arm around Aaron's shoulder. Why are you walking so quickly? He exclaimed. And this weasel, who I thought already died, survived by hiding under a pile of bodies. Giggles. Aaron stared at Dylan. He's more persistent than I thought. Go away, he said, his voice cold. Dylan went flying. Anyway, I thought this would be the end of the mercenary substitute mission. After returning to the city. Fuck, Aaron said, a sense of unease settling over him. He woke up in his room, his chest throbbing with a dull ache. Rustle. He checked. His chest still had a gaping hole with a red pulsating heart-like thing inside. WW, what is this? He exclaimed, touching his chest, a hint of panic in his voice. What the F? He hissed, his hand shaking with disbelief. His hand glowed with a faint, crimson light. An eye, glowing with an eerie red light, opened on his chest. Hey! A voice whispered in his mind, smooth and seductive. Aaron stared at his reflection in the mirror, his pulse quickening. How have you been? His hand moved on its own accord, grabbing his sword. He could feel the power flowing through his veins, an exhilarating and terrifying sensation. How refreshing. The voice in his head purred, a strange sensation prickling across Aaron's skin. He could feel it coming from his chest. Buzz, could you go a little higher? It urged, its voice demanding. Shut up. Aaron roared, his grip tightening around his sword hilt. Fuck! He screamed, his face contorted in fury. Henna was in the kitchen, preparing food. She noticed the unusual energy in the air. Aaron was in bed, the pulsating eye in his chest glowing red. Who? He said, his voice strained and weak. What are you? He struggled to form words, his thoughts muddled. Are you the demon from that time? He managed to ask. That's what the ignorant ones call me. The voice said, its tone mocking and condescending. Shit, Aaron muttered. His body felt alien to him. Did it latch onto me, when I bit it off? Then is that also the reason why I lost my memories? He frantically touched his head, trying to recall what had happened. Don't get it wrong, it's not your will. The voice purred. I'm merely taking over your body through my own will. Then fuck off to another person's body already. Aaron snapped with anger. Otherwise, I'm going to skin all the flesh around you. He threatened, his grip tightening around his sword hilt. I told you that it's not your will. The voice replied. And it takes time to move hosts. Time? How long? Around 100 years? The voice replied. Blink. You motherf, plunging the dagger into his chest. Oh no, he added, his voice defeated. Come on, having me around won't be too bad. The demon chuckled, as if mocking his feeble effort. The glow in his chest became more intense. I think it might be necessary to show you. His eye glowed ominously. What being? He said. I am. The voice declared, the power surging through Aaron's body. Flash. His body was engulfed in a green aura. This is. Aaron's voice became distorted. Aura? How does a demon have the power that only knights possess? Aaron wondered, his eyes wide with disbelief. Aaron's body was surrounded in a bright aura. Aaron's sword glowed. Huh, boof boof. Did you see that? The potential. Lick lick. I in my pow. The voice in his head declared. Aaron muttered. What the fuck? This guy's a complete weakling. he muttered. Boom. The door to his room suddenly burst open. "Ke henna?" Aaron exclaimed, scrambling to pull the covers over his body. "I'm screwed if she sees this," he thought, his eyes wide with panic. "Aaron, come down for a minute." Henna's voice echoed from downstairs, her tone urgent. "The Casertix Catholic Monastery is looking for you." Downstairs, a commotion erupted. "Is he on the second floor?" a gruff voice demanded. "There's no time to waste, move." A soldier roughly grabbed Henna. "You will not hesitate at the call of nobles, you damn commoner," the soldier barked, his eyes scanning the room for Aaron. "Sir Ben is looking for you," he announced loudly, his voice echoing through the inn. "You will come down quick dash." He yelled before suddenly being struck. "Hey, you still have that ugly face on you," Aaron said, his voice laced with a dark humor. "Jace the Haffy Dot. I'll be ready soon, so just lie down there for a bit." Aaron walked past Henna, who was still holding her broom, a hopeful smile on her face. "Aaron, are you on your way out?" she asked, her eyes sparkling with anticipation. "Come home early. I recently learned a massage that'll make you feel good," she offered, her cheeks flushing slightly. Editor: I cannot say no to you, Henna. Sorry, viewers. Aaron, however, brushed her off. Henna tried to negotiate with Aaron. "I'll do it if you pay me 50 copper," she said to him, but Aaron retorted, "I don't need it." "Let's go, Haffy," he said before turning back to Henna. "Ah, Aaron!" Henna exclaimed. "Then I'll do it for 40 copper." She yelled in a final attempt to get them to stay. Outside, the town was bustling with activity. "I got all scared, but turns out it was just Ben who called me," Aaron thought, relieved that the situation wasn't more serious. "Is he going to give me a reward for defeating that demon?" he wondered with greed in his eyes. Back in the opulent room, Ben turned to Aaron, a concerned expression on his face. "Captain Aaron, are you really okay?" he asked, his eyes scanning Aaron for any signs of injury. "You know about the glorious achievement of defeating a demon, and how you'll let me have that title," Ben continued. "Yeah, I don't want things to become noisy. If you feel bad for me, then why don't you share some of the rewards? I won't refuse money." "All right. If I ever do receive a reward, I will definitely call you over," Ben replied. Aaron, however, sensed an underlying tension. He is pretty sharp for a guard, Aaron thought. On the other hand, the power to destroy evil and enforce justice, aura. A miracle and ability given only to knights. Only those who have been handpicked and trained by the Empire become knights. However, the method of training these knights is left unwritten, is what I know, Aaron thought, his hand on his head. But there's something eerie about the demon's power being similar to the aura. He continued. Aaron and Dylan continued their journey, the imposing structure of the Solar Church Hall looming in the distance. "How much further do we have to go, Haffy?" Aaron asked, his voice laced with impatience. "We're almost there, commoner." "But what does Haffy mean?" Haffy questioned, confused. "Why, do you not like it?" "It means half of a half noble, and it's the perfect nickname for you. The bastard of a noble's bastard. Aaron with a smirk. "Motherfucker. I'll definitely kill him one day," Dylan muttered under his breath, his fists clenched in anger. "We're here," Haffy announced. "Huh. This is." They stood before the grand entrance of the Solar Church Hall, its towering spires reaching towards the sky. "But I have a demon in me right now." Inside the hall, Ben greeted Aaron warmly. "Captain Aaron, you're finally here. I've been waiting for you," he said, a welcoming smile on his face. "You seem quite startled because of my sudden summoning." Ben noted. "That's because I'm scared I'm going to be exorcised," Aaron thought, his unease growing with each passing moment. "This place puts me in a bad mood." Ben then introduced Aaron to the priest. "Say hello. This is the priest of this church, Priest Blyan." Aaron looked at the priest. "Haha, it's nice to meet you, Brother Aaron," the priest said. "And this is," Ben continued, gesturing towards a stern-faced woman in armor, "Joanna, the Inquisitor." "They are both renowned for their deep religious faith," Ben explained. Aaron, however, was more focused on Joanna, who was staring intently at him. "Why is she staring so intently at me?" he wondered, a sense of unease creeping up his spine. "Huh," Aaron said, surprised. "Did she know dash?" he thought before being interrupted. Suddenly, Joanna reached out and touched Aaron's forehead. "Oh, the Inquisitor has extended her hand of blessing," a priest exclaimed. Aaron, however, was still confused. "Huh," he muttered, his eyes wide with bewilderment. "I'm jealous of you, Brother Aaron," the priest said. Aaron, still reeling from the unexpected contact, tried to make sense of the situation. So it was just some kind of religious ritual. I mean, how would I even know just by looking at it? How dare a god's underling place their dirty hands on me? The demon voice exclaimed. Ben, noticing Aaron's reaction, decided to address the matter at hand. Sir Ben told me everything. He said that you refused to take credit even after defeating the demon, the priest stated. He then presented Aaron with a small, ornate box. This is a small gesture from our church for tributing to your achievements, he explained, opening the box to reveal a gleaming golden brooch. Aaron's eyes widened in surprise. This is the church's golden brooch? He exclaimed, recognizing the significance of the object. Oh, you seem to recognize it, the priest said, smiling. Is it really okay for me to accept such an important item? Aaron questioned. Haha, please take it. And all you need to do is lend us your strength when the church is in dire need, which is very rare, the priest replied. Priest Blyan, I heard he's one of the corrupt power brokers behind Caserdic. Aaron thought, his eyes narrowing slightly. Then he continued, Father, from today onwards, you are my father of faith. Haha. The priest laughed. In fact, he was a true religious person of this era. Long live the Solar Church. Haha, Solarman. Aaron continued. Joanna, however, remained silent, her gaze fixed on Aaron. Later, back at the inn, Aaron was sitting with a contemplative expression on his face. Captain? Kale asked. What's wrong, Kale? Aaron asked. Did you perhaps bully someone and steal their belongings? What's up with that brooch, and that strangely shiny armor too? Why don't you take off that tacky flower scarf of yours first before talking? Aaron retorted. What's wrong with my scarf? Rosa bought it for me. This brooch is a gift filled with the energy of the god of the sun. This armor was also prepared with sacred gold coins. Aaron explained, ignoring Kale's outburst. Why don't you just pay for your bar bills with that money instead? Kyle scoffed. At the bar, Charlotte, the waitress, approached Aaron with a warm smile. Here is your glass of beer, sir, she said, placing a frothy mug in front of him. Here you go, she said, handing him another drink. Oh, thank you, Charlotte, Aaron replied. Is Brig not coming today? She asked, noticing the absence of one of their regulars. Brig's off duty today, Aaron answered. Charlotte hummed in thought. What? Are you interested in Brig or something, Lady Charlotte? Kale interjected, a teasing tone in his voice. It's hard to see a good man like Brig around here. Charlotte answered. Your way of talking is creepy, Kale. Aaron interjected. Brig's not bad. I was going to give him a massage that'll make him feel good if he comes by, Charlotte continued, a playful glint in her eyes. By the way, the beer's too warm. I miss a cool glass of freshly poured beer, he said, taking a sip. Charlotte then leaned closer, a mischievous look on her face. Right, have you guys heard? She whispered, capturing their attention. It seems like a group of scammers has appeared lately, she said. Kale and Aaron both looked at her. You know the sick mermaid in District 5? She continued. Recently, a lot of outsiders happened to stay there, and gambling naturally took place. She explained. The scene shifts to District 5. Ah, no way, Dylan exclaimed with shock. How did you get 5 times in a row? Dylan exclaimed with disbelief. This is a scam. A hooded figure sat at the table, their face obscured by the shadows, a pile of coins in front of them. And a little girl is dominating the dice roll. Charlotte's voice echoed over the scene. What a cheeky little kid, Aaron thought, taking a sip of his beer. How dare a minor gamble in my district? Back in the present. As the captain of the guards at the Caserdic church, I can't just sit and watch all of this unfold. Aaron said. Ha-hoo. Ha! Kyle exclaimed, his eyes darting nervously between Charlotte and Aaron. Captain, you can't. Dylan pleaded, trying to dissuade Aaron from getting involved. Aaron, however, simply smirked. Let's go, Kale, he said, standing up from his chair. Let's go eradicate their gambling. Please. That's what you want to do, Dylan exclaimed with a mixture of fear and resignation. Aaron approached the entrance of the bustling inn, a sly grin spreading across his face. I'm here, he announced loudly, his voice cutting through the din of the crowd. He entered, pushing past patrons, his eyes scanning the room. Hey, Aaron? A familiar voice exclaimed in surprise. Aaron spotted Joseph, the innkeeper, his eyes widening in recognition. How did you? Ah, the smell of gambling, Aaron said, a knowing glint in his eyes. Hey, Joseph, it's been a while. Which way is the gambling table? He asked, his grin widening. Joseph, flustered, stammered. Didn't you quit gambling? Aaron chuckled. I'm gonna do one last round today and leave. Since I have a lot of cash for the first time in a while, he declared. He approached a table where a group of gamblers were huddled, his senses on high alert. I think I smell money from this table here, he said, his hand instinctively reaching for his coin purse. He sat down, his gaze fixed on a young girl with purple hair, who was currently dominating the game. Hey kid, I heard that you're quite good with the dice, Aaron said. Let's see your skills, he continued, his eyes fixed on the girl. The girl, unfazed, simply nodded and rolled the dice. Durarari. The dice rolled across the table. Huh, it's number 6, Aaron noted, his eyes narrowing slightly. We have tied again, the girl stated without emotion. Aaron, seeing an opportunity, leaned forward. Okay, then let's add some more to the betting, he suggested, a sly grin spreading across his face. And go for double or nothing. The girl, however, simply stared at him. All right, I'll double it too then, she agreed. What an idiot, she thought, her eyes narrowing slightly. Aaron, oblivious to her thoughts, continued to play, his confidence growing with each roll. I lost a few rounds on purpose, but now he has become arrogant, and is just betting money left and right, she thought. A man approached the table, clearing his throat to get their attention. Ahem, he coughed, signaling to the girl. The signal to start harvesting, he whispered, his eyes darting around the room. Well, I guess there's nothing he can do, she thought, her eyes fixed on the dice. He wouldn't even dream that I could change the dice at will with magic. She prepared to make her move, her hand hovering over the dice. I'm sorry, but I'll suck up every single penny of yours, she began. Stop right there. A voice interrupted. The girl froze, her eyes widening in surprise. Are you trying to cheat through magic? Aaron asked with a sharp and accusatory voice. The girl, startled, could only stare at him in disbelief. What? Do you have proof? She stammered, her composure finally breaking. Aaron simply smirked. Proof? Of course I do. You would have given me a 4, he stated. He picked up the dice, revealing the number to the girl. And the number you will have would have been a 4 too in order to end this game, isn't that right? He continued, his gaze fixed on the girl. The girl, realizing she had been caught, could only look away in defeat. Oh no, she thought, her eyes wide with panic. Aaron, enjoying her discomfort, leaned back in his chair, a smug grin on his face. You're sitting here writing a whole scenario, aren't you? You little. Oh, that's not it, he said. See? I was right. He turned to the girl, his expression hardening. I bet all my money in my hand that you used magic, he declared. The girl, realizing she had been outsmarted, could only glare at him in defiance. Fuck off if you're scared. It's quite common, you see. Using a young mage like you, and creating this filthy scam gambling ring. Aaron declared. TSK. I thought you were just an idiot, but you knew who we were all along, the ringleader said. He drew his sword, the metal gleaming in the dim light of the inn. Well, I guess that would make things shorter. If you don't want to die right now, drop all the money you just earned and fuck off, he commanded. Oh, didn't you learn that if you aren't sure, then don't bet on it? I mean, if even one of you here knew who I am, you wouldn't be here doing this shit. Aaron retorted. Since the game of dice with this kid was fun, what do you think about one more round? He suggested, a sly grin spreading across his face. 1 gold coins, their surfaces gleaming in the dim light. For your information, that is real gold from the solar church, he stated. The other gamblers, upon seeing the gold, gasped in astonishment. This will be enough, right? Aaron asked, his eyes fixed on the girl. This is my first time seeing a gold coin of the solar church. Me too, they exclaimed, their voices filled with awe. Aaron, sensing an opportunity, turned to one of the men, a mischievous glint in his eyes. Hey, what are you trying to pull here? The man asked. Even after knowing that we are scammers and also that this bitch is a mage, you're still willing to play more? The man questioned, bewildered by Aaron's seemingly reckless behavior. What kind of bullshit are you trying to sell, Fuck, why do the world's biggest gambling ring scammers talk so much? Are you scared? Aaron retorted with sarcasm. The man, taken aback, could only stare at Aaron in disbelief. Scared? He muttered, his eyes narrowing slightly. He slammed his axe on the table, the force of the impact causing the wood to splinter. All right then, I'll bet all this money in this bitch's hand, he declared with a newfound determination. Kana, if you fuck up this round, you'll lose your hand, he warned the girl. The other gamblers, sensing the shift in the atmosphere, quickly moved away from the table, their eyes fixed on the unfolding drama. Aaron turned his attention back to the girl, a thoughtful expression on his face. Hey kid, you should have gone to a magic academy or something. Why'd you have to be roped in with these bastards? He asked with genuine curiosity. The girl simply stared at him, her expression unreadable. Did magic not fit you once you've learned it? Aaron continued. Or were you poor? Were you trying to earn money in order to go to a magic academy? The girl, however, remained silent, her gaze fixed on the table. Finally, she spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. Don't assume. Don't assume my situation when you don't know anything. Aaron, sensing her distress, softened his tone. All right, he conceded, a slight smile playing on his lips. I was right, judging from her reaction. He then turned his attention to the man who had bet against him, a thoughtful expression on his face. I was wondering where he was getting all this courage from, but it looks like it was all to stall time. I'm sorry, but as long as you know who we are, we weren't planning on letting you go alive. The man thought. The man simply smirked. From the moment you lift that cup, he exclaimed, as two shadowy figures emerged from behind Aaron. Aaron, however, was prepared. Last of all, can you make a beer cold with magic? He asked, turning to the girl with a grin on his face. The girl, surprised by the sudden request, could only stare at him in confusion. Beer? She muttered with disbelief. Yeah, I can. I just need to use basic ice magic. But why are you asking that all of a sudden? She asked. Aaron simply smirked. That what I was searching for, Aaron thought. Okay, he said menacing. Pass. He yelled as he slammed his hand on the table, the force of the impact causing the dice to scatter. The two dice flew into the air, their numbers spinning wildly. The dice game. A game where two dice are shaken in a cup, and when the two numbers are added together, the person with the highest last digit wins. What are you doing? Kill him. The man yelled, also called the warrior's bet. The narrator continued. Aaron swiftly moved, striking one of his attackers with his fist. The dice landed on the table, their numbers finally settling. They say that a person who is followed by the muon will never lose. The narrator concluded. Aaron delivered a powerful blow to his attacker, sending him crashing to the ground. The man, realizing he had underestimated Aaron, could only stare in shock as the shadowy figures closed in on him. I got him good this time, the man exclaimed before he struck down. Aaron turned to the man. Hey, aren't you even embarrassed? He asked. How can a bunch of grown men use and live off of a little girl? You little medieval bastards. You should be ashamed of yourselves. He continued. He grabbed one of the men, his grip tightening around his throat. Aaron then slammed his fist into the man's face. Suddenly, behind Aaron, a man with a glamming dagger. Dark magic? He exclaimed. Aaron, however, simply smiled. Oh, not bad? You'd rather die with your friend than live in shame, don't you? He asked. But Aaron used the leader as a shield, and the dagger dove deeply into his chest. Aaron grabbed the man, his grip tightening around his skull. No way! She muttered, her eyes wide with disbelief. Aaron, with a swift and decisive movement, defeated everyone with his bare hands. Kyle, witnessing the aftermath of the fight. You always end up in a fight if you play the dice game, Captain. This is why you were banned from gambling. He said. Oh, this guy is knife-wielding Shaq, the wanted assassin from the town next to us. He continued, recognizing one of the fallen men. That's none of my business, Aaron replied, his attention focused on the girl. Fridge kid, where are you? He called out. The girl was hiding. Ah, you were here, Aaron said when he found her. I am sorry. Please don't kill me, she pleaded, her voice trembling with fear. What are you saying? Hey, do you want to earn money? If you make me a cold glass of beer every day, I'll introduce you to a job that will guarantee you room and board until you enter a magic academy. Aaron offered. He held out his hand, a reassuring smile on his face. What do you think? Do you want to come with me? He asked, his eyes fixed on the girl. The girl, overwhelmed by the sudden turn of events, tears welling up in her eyes. Yeah, she exclaimed. The sun began to rise, casting a warm glow over the town as Aaron practiced his swordsmanship in the courtyard of the inn. He moved with a fluid grace, his muscles rippling beneath his bare skin. Excuse me, a small voice said, interrupting his practice. Aaron turned to see the young girl, Kanna, approaching him, a wooden mug in her hands. Oh, mini fridge, he said. Fridge, what is a fridge? Kanna murmured, tilting her head in confusion. She held out the mug towards him. Have some beer, she offered. Aaron took the mug from her, his large hand dwarfing hers. He brought the mug to his lips and drank deeply, the cold liquid refreshing him. Ah, that hits the spot, he exclaimed with a satisfied sigh escaping his lips. He lowered the mug, his eyes meeting Kanna's. Hey Fridge, how old did you say you are? He asked, gently patting her head. 12 years old, she replied. Aaron turned to face her, a curious expression on his face. What? Then why are you so small? Are you a dwarf? He asked. Suddenly, Henna stormed out of the inn, her face contorted in anger. I asked that your daughter? She exclaimed. Editor. No, I will never cheat on you, Henna. Aaron choked on his beer. What are you saying? She's a Fridge. I mean a mage I found off the streets, he explained, trying to clarify the misunderstanding. Daughter? Kanna murmured. Henna, however, was not convinced. And aren't you short on manpower anyway? Just consider it as if you have a new employee and treat her nicely. Aaron continued. Henna turned to Kanna. I mean, she began, trying to examine Kanna. Henna, seeing an opportunity, quickly grabbed Kanna, pulling her into a tight embrace. There's no way such a cute kid would be Aaron's daughter, she exclaimed, her voice muffled by Kanna's hair. You had a hard time because of mean adults up until now, right? This older sister will protect you from now on, okay? What's your name, kid? Henna cooed, her anger forgotten. Aya, Kanna. The girl stammered, her face flushed from the sudden affection. Kanna, what a pretty name. But Kanna, how many of these cold glasses of beer can you make a day? Henna asked, her eyes sparkling with greed. Kanna replied, I'm not asking for much, maybe just 300 glasses? I can give you twice your pay. What do you think? She exclaimed, a mischievous grin on her face. Ahem, then shall I head to work now? Henna continued. The scene shifted, providing a glimpse into Aaron's daily routine. First, he would greet his boss, often with a playful jab or a teasing remark. Please stop hitting people. Yeah, Aaron replied. Next, he would check the supplies, making sure everything was in order. Ahem, I guess I should check the state of these apples. Aaron said, picking up a shiny red apple. Just pack 10, he said to a worker. Editor, that's stealing, not checking Aaron. Then, he would patrol the market, maintaining order within the fortress. Have a good day, the merchants said. That crazy bastard. One of them exclaimed after Aaron passed. Just let him be, it's thanks to him that there are no thugs in the market. The other said. Well, you're right, the first agreed. Finally, he would deal with any issues that arose, often using his authority to his advantage. A man approached him, tears streaming down his face. This is really all I have. He sobbed, holding out a few coins. Aaron's subordinates simply stared at him, a smirk playing on his lips. If I find any more around here, I'm gonna hang you on the gallows, okay? Kyle warned. Take it easy, even if he's a smuggler. Aaron said. Oh, hello, Captain. Aaron then turned to the crying man, his expression softening slightly. Take 300 copper and use 100 for yourselves, he said, handing the man a few coins. Yahoo! Thank you, Captain. After his duties, Aaron would do external entrance checkups for a clear investigation. It seems like there are no visitors today. Did rumors spread about our expensive entrance fee? Carnelian flowers never wither. A man said to Aaron. Aaron looked at him. What is it? Did Scar send you again? Aaron asked. Do not speak of his name carelessly. He who is the shadow of the Casertic fortress. Editor, this reminds me of Eminence in Shadow. Ah, shut up. Just tell me what you're here for. Apparently there have been a lot of outsiders entering Casertic recently, and quite a few of them are pretending to be merchants and are acting suspiciously. Aaron took a letter, reading its contents. It's been 3 days since they entered the fortress. They aren't leaving the fortress and are trying to hide their presence. The letter read, However, they cannot trick me, the King of Shadows Scar. You who remember the oath while you, Aaron, were in the sun. The letter continued. Aaron crumpled the letter from cringe. What nonsense is he saying? I'm busy right now. Aaron throwing the letter away. Hey, go and tell Scar that I don't have time for his little games. King of Shadows my ass. How could you say that? The man shocked. If the number of outsiders increases in this remote and rural place, it would just be good for our economy. What could possibly happen here? So dramatic. Aaron looked out at the setting sun, a carriage approaching. Hey Carter, wake up. It's time to make money, Aaron said to a sleeping guard. As they walked through the gate, a carriage approached. Okay, stop here for now, Aaron commanded, signaling for the carriage to halt. He noticed something strange about the driver, his eyes narrowing in suspicion. Oh my, how are you? The merchant greeted. This bastard. He's giving off a suspicious vibe. Should I arrest him? Aaron thought. Dornoa, you're here again. The carter replied. Captain, this is Dornoa. He transferred from the upper part of Mozark to the Casertic branch. I first saw him at a security checkpoint a while ago. Oh, so this is the guard captain. I thought you were a knight because you were so handsome. Haha, you work so hard day and night. Aaron, however, was not impressed. Look at this bastard, he thought. You can call me brother from now on. Aaron continued, placing a hand on the badge. Yes, brother, Carter added. He's a nice guy. Aaron continued. Dornoa, do you have the thing you gave me last time? Of course, Dornoa replied, handing Aaron a small vial filled with dark liquid. Oh, thank you. I am knocked out after taking these, Dornoa said. Huh, really? Aaron asked. Please don't take this away from me, Captain. I'm not going to. Who do you think I am? Carter said with panic. Okay, anyways. We have to check all things that enter the fortress, Aaron said, turning his attention back to the carriage. You don't perhaps have any suspicious things, do you? He asked, his eyes scanning Dornoa's face. Oh, of course not. If I had something like that, I would give you more entrance fees. Ahaha, Dornoa stammered with nervousness. Aaron, however, noticed something unusual about Dornoa's neck. A tattoo, he thought, his eyes narrowing in suspicion. Suddenly, he heard a commotion behind him. What's all this? Carter exclaimed. Blech! Captain, come look at this quickly. Aaron turned to see, their faces contorted in disgust. He approached the carriage, pulling back the curtain to reveal a gruesome sight. Inside were the decaying carcasses of goats, their bodies covered in maggots. It's goat carcasses, but they seem to be in a very bad condition. They're all already decaying, and there are maggots everywhere. Aaron explained. The carriage and meat are going to start rotting at this rate. What were you planning to do with all this? Aaron asked, turning to Dornoa. Dornoa, however, simply smiled. Aaron thought. I knew it, he's suspicious. The butcher I usually trade with died in an accident, so I had to bring them here in that state. Dornoa explained. Oh no, that's too bad. Ha ha ha. He's really nice. Okay, pass. Welcome to Casertic, Aaron said, signaling for the carriage to proceed. Dornoa, however, simply smirked. Welcome. How stupid. I'll make this place a living hell very soon. Back at the fortress, Aaron turned to Carter. You said his name was Dornoa, right? I wonder if that guy likes high places. Apparently there have been a lot of outsiders entering Casertic recently, and quite a few of them are pretending to be merchants, and are acting suspiciously, remembering what the letter sent by Scar indicated. You'll have to take good care of yourself, Dornoa, because in this damned medieval time, it's either innocent or hanging. Editor, I think it is like YouTube make a shitey UI to get money fixing it later. Inside the bustling, laughing rabbit inn, a conversation was unfolding. Let me get this straight, Verman began, leaning back in his chair, a skeptical look on his face. Charlotte gave you a date request? Verman exclaimed, his eyes wide with disbelief. Brig, a goofy grin plastered across his face, chimed in. She asked me to go watch an execution together. Verman sighed, shaking his head in exasperation. Charlotte, that girl's actions are remarkable. Ugh, even people like you are going on dates. He grumbled, picking at his food. Aaron, his mouth full, mumbled. But a date in that place, does she think an execution is a cultural festival or something? Outside, the town square was crowded with people, a public execution underway. These uncivilized medieval bastards. Aaron thought, grimacing at the scene. Anyways, I'm planning on gifting her the bread my mother made, Briggs said, interrupting the tense atmosphere. Verman's eyes narrowed. Brig, the bread that your mother made, he began, his hand trembling slightly as he held a wooden spoon. You're not talking about that dog shit fish bread, right? He asked with a look of disgust washing over his face. A picture of the infamous fish bread flashed in his mind, a grotesque creation with fish heads sticking out of it. Brig, oblivious to Verman's reaction, simply shrugged. He muttered, continuing to eat his soup. What's so wrong about fish bread? Brig exclaimed. It's very popular in Brigton Kingdom, my mother's homeland. He added defensively. Aaron scoffed. Is everyone in that kingdom got their noses and tongues messed up? Shaking his head in disbelief. I'm sorry to your mother, Aaron interjected, trying to defuse the situation. but that damned fish bread is no different from dung baked in the oven. Captain, you're so mean. Brig whined, his eyes welling up with tears. Are you okay, Verman? Aaron asked. Yes. Verman replied, turning away from Aaron. Suddenly, a dark figure appeared, his voice sending shivers down their spines. Carnelian flowers. He began, his eyes fixed on Aaron. Editor, oh no, not again. Never wither, he concluded. He was struck in the face. The man collapsed to the floor. Looks like Scar is looking for me. Well, whatever. Just be happy, Brig. Aaron said his goodbye. Be back safe, Captain. Brig said. Aaron went to meet Scar dragging the man with 8th-grade syndromes. Outside, they were met by a group of shadowy figures. Welcome, friend. We've been waiting for you, one of them said, his voice cold and menacing. Do you remember the oath? I, who will rule the shadows, and you, who will stay in the light, promised to take over Casertic Fortress together. The self-proclaimed Shadow King of Casertic Fortress, Scar said. Editor, I am dying from cringe. The fulfillment of that promise is near, Scar continued. Do you want to die? Aaron warned, glaring at Scar. Calling people over while they're eating just for this shit. And what's with this crappy hat? He complained, gesturing towards Scar's headgear. Ah, did you all get this as a group? What is this, a varsity jacket? Aaron said. He then snatched the hood off the figure's head. My hat! Give it back, Aaron. Scar argued. Aaron smirked, dangling the hat above the figure's head. Not taking it off, he ordered. What is a varsity jacket? The men wondered, perplexed. Some nonsense coming from some town vigilantes. Did I not tell you to quit this little roleplay? Aaron said. He then turned to the figure, his voice laced with annoyance. Wait. Listen to me. Scar exclaimed. Remember what I told you in the letter before? That recently, the movements of the outsiders who entered Casertic have been strange. Scar continued. It's just as I expected. Those guys were meeting up every night, away from our eyes, Scar revealed. I think something's going to happen soon. We need to be more cautious. Are you anything noteworthy? Scar continued, while Aaron's hand gripping the Scar's ear tightly. Scar yelped in pain. The guards will deal with this, so stay out of it, Aaron commanded, turning his back on Scar. You haven't been going to the woodworking shop these days either. Your father Jackson was looking for you. Are you sure you'll be fine like this? Aaron asked. What? Father? Scar exclaimed, his eyes widening in surprise. We shall meet again next time, friend. Everyone, let's go. Yes. His men replied, quickly dispersing. Aaron sighed. Something's going to happen soon, huh? He muttered. He looked up at the night sky, a sense of unease settling over him. Well, there's no harm in being careful, he thought. He reached for the doorknob, his hand trembling slightly. Who is it? A voice called from inside. It's me, Aaron replied, pushing open the door. Inside, he was greeted by the sight of Dallas, the executioner, and his son, Ted. Aaron, it's been a while. Wow, Aaron, Dallas and Ted said, respectively. Aaron, your armor looks even cooler now, Ted exclaimed, his eyes shining with admiration. Aaron simply smiled, handing Ted an apple. HMP, eat this. It's an apple, Aaron said. You need to say thank you, Ted, Dallas instructed. This household is menacing as usual, Aaron thought with a wry smile on his face. I'm sorry for calling you every time. Come sit down, Dallas said. It's nothing. The apple was free anyway, Aaron replied, taking a seat at the table. They said you caught all 6 prisoners to be executed this time? Dallas asked, pouring Aaron a drink. I heard that they were the Carzon's lone wolf members. You're very impressive. Well, things just turned out this way, Aaron replied. Ted has grown so much ever since. Aaron said. Right? Children seem to grow day by day, Dallas replied, smiling at his son. Nova said to pass this on. She said this is an advance payment for the request this time, Aaron said, handing Dallas a bag of coins. Since the Lord is also planning to attend, the best skills were requested to be shown. Understood. Tell her that she doesn't need to worry, Dallas said, taking the bag. Aaron nodded, taking a sip of his drink. I'm also planning on bringing Ted with me this time. He needs to begin preparing to take over the family business soon, Dallas said. So he has reached that age already, Aaron replied. The farmer's son grows to become a farmer, and the son of an executioner should become an executioner. That is how things should be, but... Ted, who was eating the apple, looked up at his father with a confused expression. Passing down a job that receives ostracism from people always makes my heart feel heavy. Dallas continued with sadness. He raised his blood-stained hand, the one that held the executioner's axe, and stared at it intently. The apple that Aaron gave to Ted was now sliced in half. That's also why my wife ran away. Would you like some apples? Ted asked, offering the sliced apple to Aaron. But I'm always thankful to you. Unlike everyone else, you treat us comfortably. Dallas said. What's the reason not to do so? Except for that damned underwear thief, you're the only person I can have a proper conversation with. Aaron replied. I'm regretful to hear the news about Hans. To think that sincere guy suddenly became a criminal. Dallas said, changing the subject. Anyone can commit a sin, Aaron replied, his eyes fixed on Dallas. If I become a criminal in the future, make sure to cut my neck cleanly, a hint of a smile on his face. Of course, I'll be performing my ultimate skill on you. If Aaron commits a crime in the future, I'll cut his neck. Sounds good, kiddo, Ted and Dallas said. Now then, I'll be seeing you at the execution ground. Aaron getting up from his chair. Conducting covert activities is difficult because of that guy called Scar, who is constantly surveilling the area. One of the men said. Not only that, outside the fortress recently, Kuten's attack also ended as a failure by now. Another added. Shouldn't we start moving by now? Shh, silence. An execution will be taking place in the town square in a few days. Using this opportunity, the heart of Lady Casertic will be ours. Dornoa said, a sinister glint in his eyes. Yes, Lord Dornoa, the men replied in unison. A figure lay on the ground, seemingly unconscious. But is that guy sleeping or is he dead? Someone asked, looking at the figure. MHH. I want to sleep more, Captain. The figure mumbled, revealing that it was Carter, still as sleepy as ever. The day of the execution arrived, casting a somber mood over Casertic Town Square. At the Laughing Rabbit Inn, Kana was busy at work, using her magic to chill a mug of beer. Ha! She exclaimed, a small burst of blue energy emanating from her hands. Oh! The patrons exclaimed, amazed by her abilities. Wow, that was amazing, little mage. Get me another glass of beer. One of them shouted, handing Kana some coins. Phew! Kana sighed, wiping the sweat from her brow. Meanwhile, Henna was happily serving customers, a plate of bread and strawberry jam in her hands. Now everyone! We also have bread with strawberry jam, so come try it with some wine, she announced, her voice cheerful. Verman, watching the scene unfold, couldn't help but feel a sense of despair. Damn it, why am I even here? He mumbled, tears streaming down his face. Hey, you're dead if you steal that bread, Dylan exclaimed, noticing Verman's state. Thanks to your suggestion to sell strawberry jam bread and wine, we're getting loads of customers. You're a genius, Aaron, Henna said, giving Aaron a grateful hug. Kana's cold beer is also quite popular. My intuitions are correct as usual, Aaron thought, a proud smile on her face. Well, I suppose so, Aaron said, his gaze drifting towards the bustling crowd. Even if I explain that it's marketing that uses association, she wouldn't understand. He thought, looking at an illustration that showed blood being associated with wine. Not only that, these uncivilized medieval people even dip their bread in the blood of the death row inmates. Aaron thought, disgusted. But Aaron, why did you take Kana in? Henna asked, noticing Aaron's contemplative mood. That's because I wanted a cold glass of beer. Aaron replied. Hey, I know that's not the only reason. It's rare to see you showing interest in anyone. Henna said, her expression softening. Aaron simply looked away, unable to meet her gaze. How should I say this? He thought, his mind flashing back to a memory of a rainy night in a bustling city. A stray cat meowed softly in the rain. Meow. I once took in a stray cat off the street and raised it. I guess she reminded me of the cat. You took a cat in? Henna asked, surprised by Aaron's uncharacteristic behavior. Suddenly Verman rushed in, his face pale with shock. Captain, he exclaimed, his voice trembling. Why are we here when our unit is on break? Don't tell me we're really here to sell bread and alcohol? He asked with disbelief. A concerning information came in recently. Just think of this as undercover work and report back right away if you spot any suspicious people. Aaron explained. An undercover mission. Oh, Verman said, his eyes lighting up with excitement. But why is it only you and Poole today? Where are the others? Aaron asked, noticing the absence of the other unit members. Brig is talking with Charlotte right now. Ahaha ho ho ho, Kale is obviously with Rosa. Aaron replied, gesturing towards Brig and Charlotte, who were engaged in conversation. I can already tell Carter is sleeping. He continued. In the distance, the imposing gates of the execution ground loomed. So this is where you were, Ted. Approaching Ted, who was standing near the entrance. Oh, Aaron! Ted exclaimed, his face lighting up at the sight of Aaron. What are you doing in a place like this? Aaron asked, looking around at the grim surroundings. Our guests looked nervous, so I was calming them down. Ted replied, gesturing towards the prisoners who were shaking behind bars. Don't worry, dear guests. My father has chopped off over 100 heads until now. Ted reassured them. The prisoners trembled even more. He will send you off without any pain, so don't be afraid. Ted continued, his cheerful demeanor contrasting sharply with the grim reality of the situation. What a nice kid, Aaron thought. One of the prisoners, his mouth gagged, tried to speak. MMPPHH. What are you saying? MMPHH. Hey, I don't understand a single word. Time's up, everyone. Let's go and get your heads chopped, Aaron said, holding a set of keys. The scene shifted to the execution ground, where Dallas stood ready with his axe. Dallas's masked face, his eyes cold and focused. He swung his axe, the sharp blade glinting in the sunlight. The bodies of the executed prisoners lay in a pile, their blood staining the ground. Executions in the medieval times were a form of political festival. Aaron said, as he and his men stood guard. The crowd cheered, their faces a mixture of excitement and fear. The king, adorned in his royal regalia, watched from his balcony. Used to relieve the citizens' suppressed violence and displaying the ruler's authority and dominion. Aaron continued. Not only that, you have to tuck your head in more, Aaron said to Dallas, as he prepared to execute another prisoner. This event is more important than usual. Nova addressed Aaron. The criminals you've caught are the bastards who killed a noble of Karzan. And his lordship was already preparing to make friends with Karzan. Nova explained, looking at the prisoner's files. Aaron simply stared at the files. In a way, this execution is a form of a diplomatic event. No accidents of any kind should ever happen. It really feels like something's going to happen when you say it like that. Dumb orange. Aaron thought. He means Nova. He then turned his gaze towards the crowd, his eyes scanning the faces. In the crowd, a hooded figure stood, their hand reaching into their cloak. A close-up on the figure's hand, revealing a small, explosive device. Aaron's eyes widened in shock. Why are you coming out from there? He exclaimed, his senses on high alert. Suddenly, an explosion rocked the square, sending debris flying everywhere. Ah! What's going on? What is that explosion? The crowd screamed, panicking. It's an explosion. Ah, run away. Ah! Damn it, it's an attack. Verman shouted. Aaron, caught in the blast, shielded himself from the falling debris. Ah! Lord Foolpoots. His lordship is flying away. Someone shouted, as Lord Foolpoots was sent flying through the air by the explosion. That guy Foolpoots, I always thought he resembled a bird, but now he's really flying. They say people live like their appearance. Someone said, secure Lord Foolpoots. Get moving. The guards shouted, rushing to protect the injured lord. Wait, but the outer fortress guards are in charge of public security right now. If the lord dies right here, doesn't that mean my head will also be flying off? Aaron thought, his eyes widening in realization. You're amazing, Dallas. Working even in this kind of situation. Experts sure are different. Aaron said to Dallas. I'm only doing what I should be doing as an executioner. Dallas replied, his voice calm despite the chaos. Is that so? Then I should be working too. As the captain of guards, he declared. He charged towards the attackers, ready to defend the fortress. The explosion rocked the town square, sending debris and panic through the crowd. Damn it, what is this mess all of a sudden? Verman exclaimed. Everyone calm down. Hey, you little shit. Stop running. A guard shouted, trying to maintain order amidst the chaos. The kids will get hurt. Another guard yelled, as two children huddled together in fear. Mom, one of them cried out. Civilians were trying to escape the chaos. There. Everyone, please slowly exit through there. Charlotte said, pointing towards an exit. Henna, holding Kana protectively, looked around in confusion. Aaron, carrying two children, emerged from the smoke and dust. Aaron! So this is where everyone was. Henna said, relieved. Did you see any suspicious person by any chance? Aaron asked, his eyes scanning the crowd. Suspicious person? Verman asked, looking around. Yeah, the guy with a hood. Aaron replied, his gaze fixed on a particular spot in the crowd. Not sure, I don't think I've seen such a guy. Me neither, the people around him said. In the distance, a hooded figure was seen carrying an unconscious woman. The woman, her eyes closed, was Lady Vivian. So the target this time was also the lady, Aaron thought, his eyes narrowing. Outer Fortress Guard Unit 4. Follow me. We're going to chase a criminal. Aaron commanded. We're next on the guillotine if we fail to catch him. Verman, Dylan, and Briggs stood behind him, ready to follow his orders. A small Ted stood behind them, holding an axe. As they pursued the hooded figure, they found themselves in a dark alleyway. Just where did he run off to? It's already dark, Verman said, holding a lantern to illuminate their path. Don't you remember chasing after that guy Hans not long ago? What if we just end up wasting our time like last time? Dylan asked, his voice laced with apprehension. Stop jinxing it, Verman retorted. Thankfully, I heard that the Lord is still alive. What a long life he has, Dylan said, looking at the fallen Lord Foolpoots. But apparently, a knight got caught in the explosion and died. Verman added, seriously, those bastards that call themselves knights can't be trusted. Dylan grumbled. Aaron remained silent, his eyes fixed on the path ahead. Looks like we had another untrustworthy knight right here. It was Ben, the knight who was supposed to be escorting Lady Vivian. He was injured and bleeding. It's been a while, Aaron, Ben said with a weak smile on his face. Were you hit? Haha, this is truly embarrassing, Aaron asked, looking at Ben's injuries. Looks like you're just getting beaten up for nothing. Are you really a knight? Aaron continued, handing Ben a vial of healing potion. I let my guard down. Turns out the criminal was a dark mage. And there is a traitor among the guards. Be careful. Aaron remained silent. Suddenly, a hail of arrows rained down on them. Verman exclaimed, startled by the sudden attack. Captain, this voice is. Verman said. Aaron turned his head. It's Kale's voice, he thought. In the distance, a large, muscular figure stood silhouetted against the moon. Ugh! Verman groaned, collapsing to the ground, an arrow protruding from his back. Dash! Verman screamed in pain. What are you guys doing? The figure asked. Your reactions are too much for barely getting hit once, the demon said. Oh, could you wait a moment? There's someone I'm waiting for. What's that supposed to dash? The creature began, only to be interrupted by Aaron's sudden attack. Oh, he's here. His ears are sharp as usual. The construction here is worse than I thought. I only pushed it a little bit, and it came crumbling down like tofu. Who is this monster? Struggling to break free from the creature's grasp. What kind of grip power is this? The demon added, equally helpless. But why are you this weak? You're different from the demon I fought outside the fortress. Aaron asked, his voice strained. Aaron's hand tightened around Damon's throat. I'm going to die, his vision blurring. I'm really going to die at this rate. The creature coughed, Aaron's grip loosening. You got a good idea of what could happen, right? Spit everything out while I'm speaking nicely. That dark mage is the culprit. He's aiming for the lady's heart. He's truly a fucked up piece of shit. Is that so? Survival instinct at its finest form. What an honest friend. He made a deal with a demon through the dark mage known as the demon's servant. Also, our base is in the lawless city of Tarumba. The creature continued, revealing more information. Hey, that's enough. So he's basically the demon's subcontractor. Aaron said, interrupting the creature. Then why does he need the lady's heart? Aaron asked. I really don't know. I am being honest. Please believe me. The creature pleaded, its voice filled with fear. All right. I'll let you live since you're pretty obedient. Take him away, Aaron said, signaling to his men. The creature, relieved, bowed its head in gratitude. Thank you. You made a good choice. I almost got screwed up, the creature said, as it was being led away. So that guy is the dark mage, and his minions are using their own lackeys. Aaron thought, just what is the lady's true identity? He continued, Captain, so you were here. A voice said, interrupting Aaron's thoughts. Aaron turned to see Carter, finally awake, standing behind him. What a great night, isn't it? Carter said, a sleepy smile on his face. Carter, did you seriously just wake up? Aaron asked with disbelief. Sleep moderately. That's a disease at this point, he continued. Captain, you know I can't really control it. Carter replied, his voice heavy with sleep. Do you know, Captain, how painful it is not to be able to sleep? Carter continued. I don't even feel awake when I'm lacking sleep. It's as if I'm lost in a dream. Carter said, his eyes half closed. As though there's a fog over my mind, everything becomes blurry. He continued. Carter drew his sword. Suddenly, his eyes snapped open, glowing with an eerie green light. He swung his sword, a powerful aura emanating from the blade. I will ensure you have a dream you'll never wake up from. Carter said. Good night, Captain. Carter offered, his eyes glowing with a strange purple light. The scene shifted, taking us back in time. When I was young, a famine struck the village. A voice narrated, as the scene showed a desolate village with dilapidated huts. There's nothing to eat, so we not only eat tree roots. A pot filled with tree roots was shown. A rat scurried nearby. A hand reaches out, catching the rat, a hunger-fueled desperation clear on the person's face. But we also used to eat rats and cockroaches raw. The narration continued, as a young boy and his older brother were shown standing over a body, their faces etched with hardship. The younger boy coughed, his eyes sunken and weary. Then, one day, there was meat served on the table. The family ate the meat with a ravenous hunger. My family really enjoyed it, the narrator continued, a sense of sadness in their voice. A younger Carter sat at the table, barely touching his meat. He stared at the meat, a strange look in his eyes. Except for my younger brother, who was unusually sick and couldn't help with the work. Carter thought. The family was all enjoying a meal together. Since that day, I can't get a proper night's sleep even for a single day. Carter thought, his eyes glowing with purple magic and a powerful aura surrounding him. I always think, will they eat meat without me next time? Don't you know how worried I was? Carter screamed, as his form surged with power. A battle was shown as Carter fought with speed and strength that were unlike his normal self. His blade shone with magical light as he clashed against Aaron. I heard about it before, you piece of shit. Aaron charged towards Carter. Carter dodged the attack, his movements quick and nimble. Haha, what do you think? I'm strong, aren't I? Why is that a flashback to a small vial, filled with dark purple candies? It's definitely because I slept well, right? He exclaimed, his eyes wide with a manic energy. This is all thanks to the candy that Dornoa gave me. He continued, his hands glowing purple with a strange power. So you received power from the demon. His strength and agility have increased drastically. Come to think of it, this piece of shit, Aaron thought, his eyes narrowing in anger. Here I go, Captain. Carter shouted, charging towards Aaron, his form now shrouded in a purple aura. His movements were fast, unpredictable, a far cry from the sleepy man Aaron knew. Without even properly learning it, a thought flickered in Aaron's mind. Aaron drew his sword, a blue aura surrounding it, ready to face Carter's onslaught. However, Aaron thought, a grim smile forming on his face. Carter attacked with his newly found strength. The sword clashing, sparks flew as Carter's sword stuck on the wall. He lacks experience. You're like a wall that's not very solid. Aaron continued, it seems poorly constructed, with hint of mockery. Aaron unleashed his power, a surge of dark energy engulfing Carter. Shut up! Carter screamed, his form contorted in pain. I understand, Carter. I also have trouble sleeping at night. I forgive you. Aaron continued. Aaron's blade, dripping with blood, moved with deadly precision. So forgive me as well, Aaron said, as he plunged his blade into Carter's chest. Carter's eyes widened, his glowing purple pupils fading to their normal color. Brother, he said, a faint smile on his Carter's face. Blood trickled down his lips. I'm sleepy, Carter muttered, his eyes fluttering shut. Aaron caught Carter as he fell, his hand gently cradling the back of Carter's head. Sleep tight, Carter, Aaron said, his voice filled with a strange mixture of sadness and regret. I will sing you the best lullaby as the last one, Aaron said. A distant explosion rocked the scene. The scene shifted, showing Aaron holding Carter in his arms, a sense of loss washing over him. He gently laid him down, his form lifeless. In the distance, the hooded figure was seen dragging Lady Vivian, her body limp and motionless. Damn it, those persistent bastards. I had to go through this small tunnel. But it's worth it, he continued, revealing a sinister smile. Because I got the one who is loved by Mana, he exclaimed, looking at the unconscious Lady Vivian. Now I just need to take this human's heart out and eat it, he said, pulling out a knife. A figure suddenly appeared behind him. So you're here, the figure said. How did you find the small tunnel? Did Carter tell you? The hooded figure asked, turning to face his pursuer, a knife clutched tightly in his hand. Let's have a quick interview. Ha! Who are you? I thought a knight was chasing me, he said, looking at his own glowing purple hands. But aren't you just the novice captain of guards? He unleashed his power, shadowy tendrils erupting from his body and reaching towards Eren. Bite him! The tendrils, however, simply dissipated upon contact with Eren's blade. Eren, unfazed by the attack, swung his sword with deadly accuracy, slicing through the shadowy appendages. Indolence will eat away at oneself, he stated. Ugh! Eren grunted, recoiling from the attack. Damn it, it's a magic curse, Eren thought, noticing his own hand glowing a dark purple. My body feels heavy and it's painful when I move. I'd be at a disadvantage if this fight takes a long time, he thought, his body aching from the dark mage's curse. I see, so your body is not just for show, huh? However, can you face Lord Quentel's Shadow Legion? Eren heard, seeing a group of dark, shadowy figures begin to materialize around them. What the heck? Is it your animal farm? Isn't it too small to be called a legion? Ha! This insolent bastard. The shadows swirled around the figure, forming two massive serpentine heads. Charge! He screamed. If I follow the rules, I should capture you alive, right? Eren said, his eyes locked onto his target. He looked down at Carter and thought. But, you tricked my subordinates and sold them to the demon. A memory flashed in Eren's mind of his fallen comrades. His face hardened, his eyes narrowed in rage. So I can't do that, Eren declared, his sword glowing with deadly intent. You're sentenced to immediate execution, you son of a bitch, he screamed, his sword raised high, ready to strike. Eren charged forward, his sword slicing through the shadowy creatures with precision. He moved like a whirlwind, his blade a blur of motion. He ducked under a swipe from one of the creatures, his sword glowing with a magical light. Ugh! Dornoa grunted in pain as Eren's attacks landed. Those who are crushed under the weight of punishment are sinners, Dornoa shouted, his hands glowing with a dark, pulsating energy. Suppression! He screamed, unleashing a wave of dark magic towards Eren. Dark magic start to engulf Eren. Around his hands, around his feet. How's that? Dornoa asked, a sinister grin on his face. This is a triple curse that even knights have a difficult time escaping, he said, confident in his power. Become minced meat just like that, he commanded, his eyes glowing with a malevolent light. A knight what? Eren retorted, slashing through another wave of dark magic. The shadowy creatures dissipated, their forms unable to withstand Eren's power. I couldn't hear you properly, Eren said. Say it again. A tough guy, aren't you? This will be the end of your foolishness, he declared, pouring more power into his magic. A vial shattered, its contents splashing onto the ground, forming a strange, pulsating mass. The mass began to take shape, growing larger and more menacing. Eren watched, his eyes narrowed, as the creature before him transformed. This is a demonic beast summoned by the Cardinal's finger, Dornoa announced as a massive, red dragon-like creature materialized before them. The creature roared, its voice shaking the very ground they stood on. Eren managed to dodge a hit from the dragon tail. Editor, Elden Ring flashback. You're just a measly guard captain in the end, Dornoa figure mocked, watching the battle unfold. Eren leaped towards the creature, his sword aimed at its massive form. He spun in the air, his movements swift and agile. With a mighty cry, he plunged his sword into the creature's hide. Damn it! I'm not even making a scratch, Eren thought, his attack barely scratching the surface. As expected, does this mean ordinary methods won't work? He wondered. He took a deep breath. In that case, he muttered, a plan forming in his mind. With a burst of speed, he leaped towards the creature's open maw. The creature's massive jaws snapped shut on Eren. Ha! Dornoa exclaimed in surprise, watching Eren being devoured. That fool! Walking into its mouth with his own feet, he shouted, unable to comprehend Eren's actions. Eren stood inside the creature's mouth, a strange grin on his face. Why is that bastard grinning? Either way, infiltration was successful. Now it's time for the next steps, he thought, reaching into his pocket. Come out, you damn demon, he said, his voice echoing inside the creature's body. A massive eye opened within the creature's form, its gaze fixed on Eren. You called, a voice boomed, resonating from the eye. You were awake as expected, all despite being silent after using its powers a bit back then. Eren continued, addressing the demon within. An obald bitch, at least you have some shame. Eren mocked. That power, I can use it now, right? Give it to me, Eren demanded, his hand outstretched towards the demonic eye. How impertinent. You're one disrespectful and foolish human. The demonic voice replied. But it's fascinating. The demon continued, as Aaron's sword began to glow with a strange, blue light. I shall lend you my power. In exchange, promise me one thing. The demon said. Ha! You're still a demon in the end. What is it? Aaron asked, his eyes fixed on the demonic eye. Don't call me a no-bald bitch from now on. The demon retorted, its voice filled with anger and embarrassment. I don't know what it means, but it feels strangely unpleasant. The demon continued. All right. What a simple bastard. Aaron muttered. His sword pulsed with power, the blue light growing brighter. My whole body is on fire as though I've been struck by lightning. Aaron thought, feeling the surge of energy coursing through him. So this is Aura. A wide grin spread across his face. This is going to be fun. The creature's form began to convulse, the blue aura emanating from within. Aaron attacked from within, his sword slicing through the creature's internal organs. The creature roared in pain, its body writhing in agony. What's going on? Dornoa asked, his voice filled with confusion. Aaron burst out of the creature, his body surrounded by a powerful blue aura. Impossible! He was a knight! Dornoa exclaimed. The creature's form collapsed, its body dissolving into shadows. Just who the hell are you? Dornoa screamed. Did the Imperial family send you? How did those bastards find out about this plan? We never received any contact about it. He continued. Aaron slowly approached Dornoa, his aura radiating power. My identity? Aaron asked, his eyes glowing with an intense light. He swung his sword, a wave of energy slicing through the air towards Dornoa. Dornoa fell to the ground, his body lifeless. I'm just a fortress guard, you shithead. Aaron said. The scene was silent, the only sound the gentle breeze rustling through the trees. It's finally quiet. He cleaned his sword, the blue aura slowly fading away. He looked around at the aftermath of the battle, his gaze lingering on Dornoa's lifeless form. Sleep well, Carter, he said, his voice filled with sadness. He approached the unconscious Lady Vivian, her body lying on the ground. Suddenly, Dornoa's lifeless head began to emit dark mana. A dark, magical circle appeared. Aaron's eyes narrowed. That's magic that only activates after death. He realized, his voice filled with urgency. Damn it, he's making things bothersome until the end. His hand reaching out towards Lady Vivian. These bastards taking sides with demons. He held her close. Shit, feeling a sense of helplessness wash over him. His gaze hardened. It seems like I'm fucked up this time, he thought, looking at the formidable foe before him. The monstrous, demonic creature with a single, glowing eye stood before Aaron, its form flickering in the darkness. Aaron, carrying the unconscious Vivian, landed heavily on the ground. The creature's massive foot stomped down, shaking the earth. Aaron narrowly dodged the attack, rolling away as the creature's foot slammed into the ground where he had just been. He cradled Vivian protectively, his body shielding her from harm. Ugh! Ow fuck! Aaron groaned, clutching his injured arm. He struggled to stand, his movements sluggish. At least slave me around after giving me overtime pa dash, Aaron grunted. My lady! Suddenly, a blinding flash of light erupting from its form. Lady Vivian! Joanna's voice echoed through the chaos, her face contorted in a scream. She swung her sword, a radiant aura surrounding the blade. Where are you? She shouted, her voice filled with desperation. She deflected an attack, the force of the blow sending her reeling. She spun, her sword a blur of motion. She and Ben clashed with the creature, their swords meeting in a shower of sparks. Aaron, his face grim. A knight and an inquisitor, he thought, assessing the situation. Vivian stirred, her eyes fluttering open. You are? She murmured, her voice weak. You're under arrest for kidnapping the lady. Aaron thinking about the future scenario. Aaron, startled, accidentally hit Vivian, his eyes wide with panic. Did I hit her too strong? He thought, his concern evident. He gently laid her down, his movements careful. Given her state, let's cover her up for now. He thought, using a handkerchief stolen from Kale to cover her. Hugh. Now then, it's time for the guard captain to get off work. So see ya, he said. Aaron turned his back. Joanna and Ben continued their fierce battle against the demonic creature, their swords flashing in the darkness. They stood over the creature's massive, fallen form, their chests heaving with exertion. My lady, just where are you? Joanna panted, her eyes scanning the surroundings. Ben, his face stern, looked towards a distant point. Over there. Joanna said, following his gaze. They spotted Vivian lying on the ground in the distance. Lady Vivian! Joanna cried out, rushing towards her. She knelt beside Vivian, gently checking for a pulse. Are you Auric? Is she dead? Joanna exclaimed, her eyes wide with horror. The scene shifted to the Laughing Rabbit Inn, where Aaron and his men were gathered around a table. Darn it, I'm so pissed, Verman said, slamming his fist on the table. How are we supposed to win against a dark mage? If that was the case, they should have done the inspection themselves. He continued. Aaron approached Kanna, a mug of beer in his hand. It has been a week since the dark mage's attack. The lord who flew across the sky like a hawk was miraculously unharmed. And his daughter Vivian was brought back alive, so the situation was over. And, with my false testimony, Carter's case was handled as having died in battle fighting a demon. Thanks to that, Carter's family received compensation. That dumbass, running into a demon without an ounce of fear. Verman grumbled, taking a swig of his beer. I guess his own wish came true. Sleep tight, Carter. Poole said, raising his mug in a toast. Still, I'm going to take after Carter's courage of charging toward a demon. Briggs said with admiration. Aaron raised his mug, the golden liquid sloshing inside. For Carter, he said, his voice somber. Cheers. The others echoed, raising their mugs in a final salute. Carter was able to keep his honor as a guard. Aaron took a long drink from his mug, his face etched with grief. Captain, now that I think of it, I heard that a new guard is coming as a replacement for Carter. He's probably going to be debuting sometime later on. Verman said, breaking the silence. Suddenly, the door burst open. Siri! A voice boomed. A young man with spiky, reddish hair stood in the doorway, a wide grin on his face. New recruit Outer Fortress Guard Unit 4, Dylan. I give my deepest greetings, he exclaimed, bowing deeply. Aaron choked on his beer, his eyes widening in surprise. Kumebek, Carter, Aaron said sadly. Wow, I didn't know my relationship with you, brother, would continue like this. I do suppose he has a pretty good impression. He kind of resembles you, too. Verman said, looking at Aaron. Oh right, have I told everyone about how I went against thousands of zombies? Dylan asked. Shut up, Kale said, his ears turning red. How did such an idiot get recruited? Aaron asked, turning to Henna. Your thoughts left your mouth, Aaron. Henna replied. Suddenly, a mug of beer was forcefully placed on the table. Henna watched him, a thoughtful expression on her face. Dylan turned to leave, then paused, turning back to Henna. Wait. Miss Henna, he said. What? Henna asked, raising an eyebrow. That, you see so? Dylan stammered, his face turning red. I'm sorry about what happened the other day. Acting like a hooligan is kind of like a tradition amongst mercenaries. He apologized, bowing his head. Henna simply stared at him, her expression unreadable. She let out a sigh. Puffed. It's all right, Dylan, she said, a small smile playing on her lips. Dylan pulled out a small metal object. Clashing into bastards like you while working in a tavern is a daily occurrence. But if you fool around again next time, just know that I'll blow a hole in your head. Henna said. Why yes. I apologize. Dylan stammered, his eyes wide with fear. Aaron chuckled. She's Henna after all, never easy. Hey, you weasel, Aaron said, turning to Dylan. He handed Dylan a sword. Take it. From now on you're an Outer Fortress Guard Unit 4. So work hard, or else you're dead. Dylan stared at the sword, his eyes widening in surprise. He looked up at Aaron, his face filled with gratitude. Yes, I'll work hard, he exclaimed, bowing deeply. Dylan, who became a part of the Outer Fortress Guard Unit 4 amidst a warm welcome, looks back on it in his later days. Hey newbie, nice to meet ya, Poole said, raising his mug. Ah yes, Dylan replied, grinning. Ah shit, I should have made a run for it back then. Aaron slammed his fist into the coachman's face, the force of the blow sending him sprawling to the ground with a yelp. The coachman landed with a thud, his body sprawled on the floor, as Aaron turned to address the man. Hey, you're gonna freeze that face off if you sleep in places like this. You have to be careful, Aaron said, his gaze settling on the coachman. Haven't you been able to sleep recently? He asked. Huh? I fell asleep, the coachman mumbled, rubbing his face, still dazed from the sudden impact. Thank you, he added, looking up at Aaron with a mixture of gratitude and confusion. We are in the bustling entrance of the fortress, where a coachman sat perched on his carriage, a question mark practically forming above his head. Two others were beside him with similar expressions, as the horse shifted nervously. "You saw that? That's the gist of it," Aaron said to Dylan, gesturing towards the entrance. "Make sure to tighten up the inspections since we had that demon incident recently," he instructed, his voice firm. Dylan stared at Aaron in disbelief. "Is this really how it's supposed to be done?" he exclaimed, his voice laced with shock. "Ripping off silver coins from coachmen, and even punching someone with the excuse of checking if they're a demon? To think that this is the duty of a guard." Dylan continued, his rant fueled by indignation. Suddenly, a manic grin spread across Dylan's face, his eyes gleaming with a newfound zeal. "This is the best," he yelled, snatching a pouch of coins from a bewildered coachman. "Geez, don't be so cold," he added in a sing-song voice, grabbing another pouch with a flourish. "I said you can pass at the price of 2 silver coins, so what is this all for?" he asked, his tone dripping with false innocence. Aaron, watching the scene unfold, allowed a small smirk to grace his lips. "This guy isn't too shabby," he thought, a hint of amusement in his eyes. "Extortion is seriously his calling," he observed. "Well, I have nothing to complain about since silver coins just roll in without doing anything," he mused. "You little bastard who doesn't even know his place." A man shouted. Aaron's gaze shifted towards a passing carriage, emblazoned with the crest of the Funner family. "Even after seeing the Funner family seal on the carriage, you still plan on inspecting us?" a stern voice exclaimed from within the carriage. "Well, that ain't any of my business," Dylan retorted, unfazed by the noble crest. "If you got a problem, pay up the silver dash." Aaron swiftly intervened, delivering a swift slap to the back of Dylan's head. "Act dash! Ha ha ha! That guy's still new, so he doesn't know anything yet, Your Honor," Aaron said, his voice apologetic, quickly taking control of the situation. Aaron turned his attention back to the carriage. What's this? There aren't any nobles, but only soldiers?" he observed, noticing the occupants. "It is the Lord's special order to tightly inspect everyone who enters the fortress gates due to the recent unfortunate events," Aaron explained. "There is no difference from what you said that his lordship doesn't know his place," he added. The soldier inside the carriage shifted uncomfortably. "Since you dared to call our lord a fool who doesn't know his place as a mere commoner," Aaron began, his voice low and menacing, his hand subtly moving towards his own weapon. "Looks like the executioner will be getting busy, brother," Dylan added, a hint of a threat in his tone. "Kikek?" "They changed attitude so quickly upon learning that no nobles are present here?" the soldier questioned. "I didn't call him a fool, though. Here's the silver coin. Please understand that those weren't our intentions," the soldier said, nervously offering the coins. Aaron, his face now sporting a wide grin, accepted the payment. "Well, anyone can make a mistake with their tongue, right? I've already forgotten everything," he said, his voice light and jovial. "Now that the talk's finished," he began, his smile turning sly. With a swift, powerful movement, he slammed his fist into the soldier's face. "These are the Lord's special orders for the demon search. Hope your business goes smoothly," Aaron said, his voice dripping with false politeness as he walked away, leaving the stunned soldier reeling. The soldier, his face contorted in anger, could only mutter a curse under his breath. Aaron walked away, clutching a bag of coins. The scene transitioned to the majestic cathedral, its spires reaching towards the heavens. "Captain, they seem to be looking for you at the church." "What is it now?" Aaron asked. Aaron, his face etched with annoyance, sighed. "This is a place I didn't want to revisit, at least for the sake of this thing inside me," he muttered, his hand instinctively going to his chest. "Or maybe I already got caught. Haha," he added, a hint of self-deprecating humor in his voice. As he approached the cathedral entrance, he was surprised by a familiar figure. "Aaron, you're here?" "Priest Blyan," he added, noticing the priest standing beside Joanna. "She was just standing there." "I heard what happened," the priest began, turning to Aaron, a serious expression on his face. "You fought against a demon?" Simply nodded. Apparently, the Inquisitor saw clearly with his own eyes. "That you, Aaron, were protecting the lady from the giant." A flashback of Aaron holding Vivian protectively played out. "Thankfully, it doesn't look like he saw me using the demon's powers. Fighting against a demon with the status of a mere guard captain, your courage is a praiseworthy achievement," Joanna said. "In hopes of rewarding that strong faith, although it may be small, I prepared a compensation," the priest continued. Aaron's eyes widened, a greedy glint appearing in them. "Compensation? Ha ha ha! How embarrassing! Compared to Priest Blyan's faith, my faith is nothing," he exclaimed, his voice dripping with false modesty. Oh ho, it suits you very much. You are now an honorary conventual, Priest Blyan declared, placing a heavy, ornate garment on Aaron's shoulders. Aaron, despite the weight of the garment, couldn't help but grin. Ah, yes, what an unexpected gift indeed, he said, his voice trailing off as he admired the garment. Fuck, at least pay me in money like last time, he thought, a hint of disappointment in his mind. Oh, also, the Inquisitor said that she wishes to look around the fortress for a while. Could you guide her around the castle? We're no different from family now, so I'm leaving it to you. Priest Blyan said, turning to Aaron. Since I'm busy, I'll take my leave, he added, waving goodbye as he walked away. This bastard? Now that I look at it, he only called me in to take care of the scraps. Aaron thought, that son of a pig, I swear I'll beat you into a pulp one day. He muttered under his breath, his fists clenching. Inquisitor, putting the scraps aside, if she finds out that I have a demon within me, she'll probably crack open my head with a mace, he thought. Aren't you hungry? There's a restaurant I visit often, we should go together. All right, now that we've come down to this, Aaron said, turning to the Inquisitor, trying to change the subject. A steaming dish of fish bread was placed before them, its aroma filling the air. I'll make sure that you won't ever have business with me. The signature dish of the restaurant run by Briggs' mother, fish bread. The Inquisitor hesitantly took a bite, her face showing a hint of disgust. She chewed slowly. Aaron, watching her, couldn't help but grin. What a killer expression. Don't resent me. I can't be going around with an Inquisitor with a demon in me, can I? I'm not at the risk of getting my head bashed with a mace, right? He thought, trying to justify his actions. Eat? Inquisitor asked. Aren't you going to eat? The Inquisitor asked, taking another bite, her face still showing disgust. Aaron, simply shocked as he stared at her. Yes, I need to eat. Haha, he said, taking a bite of his own food, trying to maintain his composure. He chewed slowly, his face betraying his inner turmoil. The Inquisitor continued to eat. The plate was soon empty, much to Aaron's surprise. She actually withstood this taste. You're a tough one, Inquisitor, Aaron thought, impressed by her fortitude. Oh my, you guys cleared the dishes? Should I give you guys another one? Briggs' mother asked, appearing with another plate of fish bread. The Inquisitor, without hesitation, stood up and ran away. Goodness, what was that for? Maybe something urgent came up, Briggs' mother said, watching her leave. What a sweet victory, Aaron thought, relieved that the Inquisitor was gone. Here, it's on the house. I made another one in case there wasn't enough since both of you were eating so well. Enjoy your meal, Briggs' mother said, placing another plate of fish bread before Aaron. Aaron stared at the dish, his face a mixture of horror and digest. Maybe getting my head cracked open with a mace would have been better, he thought, his stomach churning at the sight of more fish bread. Back at the inn, Verman approached Aaron, a curious expression on his face. Captain, how does your attire become more elaborate as the days go by? He asked, eyeing Aaron's new garment. Aaron, now wearing the ornate, honorary conventual attire, simply shrugged. I didn't know at first either, but there was quite a handful of shops that gave me a discount when I wore this. Being an honorary conventual is great, he replied. Captain becoming an honorary conventual. It seems like the time for the Empire to collapse too. Verman said. Want another fish bread? Briggs' mother asked, appearing with yet another plate of the dreaded dish. I'm all right, Aaron replied quickly, waving his hand dismissively. Right, have you heard? They sent soldiers from the Funner family, and apparently, they'll be working with us. There were also soldiers from his lordship to be on good terms with them, and that we could get an aggravated punishment if any fights arise. Verman said. Why are you emphasizing that? Verman asked, confused. Suddenly, a figure clad in dark armor, with the Funner family crest, entered the inn, their presence immediately drawing everyone's attention. Aaron turned around. You uneducated guard bastard, the Sodder roared, his voice filled with rage. What great timing. Aaron added. Verman simply sighed. Did the captain punch someone again? Special orders my ass. The Funner soldier bellowed, his voice echoing through the tavern. He glared at the Funner soldier who had so rudely interrupted their gathering. You dare smack me over the head with that brazen lie? Aaron's hand tightened around his mug, his knuckles turning white. Verman intervened, placing a hand on Aaron's shoulder. See, Captain, an honorary conventual shouldn't be causing a scene like this, he pleaded, trying to defuse the situation. The air crackled with tension, as if a storm was about to break. He raised another finger. 2, he continued, his voice barely above a whisper. Oh right, honorary conventual, Aaron muttered, taking a deep breath to calm himself. The Funner soldier, emboldened by Aaron's apparent restraint, sneered. Ha! Did you get scared now that we're meeting like this? He taunted, his voice dripping with arrogance. Know your place as a mere guard. Got it? He barked, stepping closer to Aaron, his eyes flashing with a challenge. Aaron met the soldier's gaze, his own eyes narrowing. 1, he said, his voice low and dangerous as he raised a finger. A shift in Aaron's demeanor. 3. In a flash, Aaron moved, his fist connecting with the soldier's jaw, sending him crashing to the floor. This isn't a fight, Aaron said, his voice cold as he stood over the fallen soldier. This is just a one-sided assault. He spat, his eyes blazing with fury. Isn't the one-sided assault a bigger issue? Verman added. It's all right. I'm an honorary conventual anyways. Aaron said, looking at his surroundings. The soldier, now sprawled on the ground, groaned in pain, his face bruised and swollen. Are you awake? Verman asked. I see, so I lost consciousness. The soldier said. That guy. He's not someone who should be working as a mere guard captain. The soldier continued. With that level of power, he has more than enough potential to become a noble's private soldier. It's definitely not that I'm weak. He's just powerful. The soldier continued. He's rambling excuses. Maybe he hurt his pride at how one punch knocked him out. Verman commented. The scene shifted to the fortress entrance, where a coachman was being questioned. I'm Kale of Casertic Outer Fortress Guard Unit 4. Aaron said. I'm Jelheim of the Funner family. I apologize for what happened while I was drunk. But what has that guy been doing since earlier? The soldier asked. According to the captain, it's a method to identify demons. Verman said. But honestly, it just looks like it's for stress relieving. Huh? Aaron said, noticing something unusual. A figure cloaked in shadows was being inspected, its form flickering ominously. You puny human! How dare you smack a demon in the head? The figure roared, its voice filled with rage, revealing glowing red eyes. Gee goodness! It was true. He actually found a demon with that method, the soldier exclaimed, his eyes wide with shock. It works? Aaron exclaimed, surprised. Ah, so he really is just hitting them for no reason. Verman added. Thankfully, the demon that Aaron found was just an insignificant lackey. But the fact that another demon appeared just a week after the incident got beat up by Aaron. The fortress was turned upside down, and on that day the scene shifted to the Grand Cathedral, where Aaron, Ben, and the Inquisitor were gathered. William was also present, smoking a cigarette. Got to witness the strongest of Casertic Fortress gathered in one place. William concluded. Ben, the Inquisitor, stood tall and proud. Joanna, his sword glowing with an ethereal light, stood beside her. Kaya! A scream echoed through the cathedral as the Inquisitor struck down another demon. I almost feel sorry for the demon. Let's go feed him fish bread next time. Aaron muttered. Back at the Laughing Rabbit Inn, Dylan greeted Aaron with enthusiasm. Brother, you're back. You worked hard today too. Would you like to take a bath first? He asked, his voice filled with energy. Why are you here, you weasel? Things are fine here, so go take a look at the hall. Dylan kept coming over to apologize, so I told him to help out if he's really sorry. Henna explained. The inn is very busy these days, after all. Henna added, looking around at the crowded inn. Thanks to the cold beer. Kana exclaimed, holding up a mug of the special brew. Aaron wiped a tear from his eye, overwhelmed by the success of Kana's magic. Of course, this taste has no choice but to increase the sales. Beer is best served cold. She's capable of this kind of magic. It's a bit of a waste to use her as a refrigerator. Magic books are expensive and hard to obtain, but, Aaron said, turning to Kana. Should we start upgrading? Aaron asked. Kana looked up at him, her eyes filled shock. Outside, 2 carriages sped towards the fortress, their horses galloping at full speed. A boy, sitting atop one of the carriages, looked down at the driver with a worried expression. Hey, the carriage is shaking too much, someone inside the carriage shouted. You're dead if you do anything foolish before we enter the fortress, the boss yelled back, his voice harsh. Damn it, do we really have to come all the countryside just to find a person? Seriously, it's our boss? Chronic illness to never let go of things that come into his arms. One of the men inside the carriage grumbled. Boss orders are absolute. Everyone, shut your mouths and control your expressions. Especially you, Jacob, be careful with your words and actions. This isn't the place for your recklessness. I won't tolerate it, the first man said. Bahaha, your words are too harsh. A voice exclaimed. Lebi, a man said, turning to his companion. We got them on the carriage because of the threats, but if we get caught during the inspection because of those guys, wouldn't we be in danger too? It's going to be all right, Furus. Casertic Fortress only pretends to do a rough inspection. They'll just let us pass if we hand them a silver coin, the other man reassured him. We'll be safe as soon as we enter the fortress. Let's drop these guys in there and leave as soon as we can. Back at the fortress entrance, Dylan stood beside Poole, watching the carriages approach. Oh, it's Lebi. It's been a while. Has it been half a year since you came here as a peddler? Poole asked, greeting the driver. Haha. Hello, Poole. I was resting because I got a fever recently. Lebi replied. 5 guards? Why are there so many? It was always only 2 before. But I guess it's a good thing that the guard captain isn't here. Lebi thought, his eyes scanning the area. I see you're working hard as usual here. The silver coin. Thank you each time. You're welcome to pass through. Wait, Brother Poole. We have 3 more guards right now. Then we should be receiving more money. We should be sharing with those friends over there, too. What's this now? This is a suitable amount, Dylan. Poole said, trying to calm him down. If it's not enough, I can always give you more. Lebi said nervously. No, there's no need for such. I don't know what those guys behind us will do if we get caught here. We have to get into the fortress safely no matter what. Lebi thought, his mind racing. Did you hear that, Captain? Verman asked, turning to Aaron. What? Ever since you succeeded in filtering out the demons, the inspection method has changed as per the commander's orders. Now, everyone in the carriage must get off and receive an individual inspection. Dylan explained. Dylan began inspecting the passengers, his movements thorough. And if there's even one suspicious person among them. Dylan continued, his eyes fixed on one of them. Dylan, following Aaron's instructions, slammed his fist into a passenger's face. The coachman, stunned and in pain, could only stare at Dylan in disbelief. Is he stupid? What kind of an inspection is that to beat anyone who looks suspicious with a wooden bat? Didn't you start that method? Verman asked, his voice filled with incredulity. Hey, what I was doing was nothing. I only hit them with my hand. What kind of fool just stands still while being hit in the head with a wooden bat? Seriously, these medieval bastards don't know mediocrity. Aaron added. Demon, it's a demon. They are demon bastards. Dylan yelled, pointing at the passengers, his eyes wide with fear. A figure, its eyes glowing red, attacked Dylan, its movements swift and deadly. One of the passengers, revealing his demonic form, looked out from the carriage, his eyes filled with malice. Dylan, along with the other guards, fought back against the demons, their swords clashing in the night. One of the demons, his face covered in blood, let out a pained groan. Did Jake just faint? Then things should work out one way or another. I'm leaving the rest to you, Jake. A man said, looking down at the fallen demon. Looks like the inspection checkpoint is going to be a mess. I'll be off now. Aaron said, turning to leave. Where are you going, Captain? Verman asked, watching him go. To upgrade the mini fridge. I have to bring that kiddo to the boss. Aaron replied. Kana stood in the inn, holding a mug of cold beer, a thoughtful expression on her face. Kana's eyes widened, a blush creeping onto her cheeks as she processed Aaron's words. Come here, Kanu, Aaron said, gesturing for her to approach, a wide grin on his face. His smile, however, seemed to have the opposite effect, as Kana instinctively moved backward, a look of apprehension on her face. It's Kana, she stammered, correcting him. Right, Kana, Aaron said, finally getting her name right. He leaned closer, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. What are the magics you can do at the moment? He asked. Magic dice, making things cold, and also some basic clairvoyance. Kana replied, listing her abilities. Did you learn magic from a gambling addict or something? Aaron asked, raising an eyebrow. A man who knows romance, that's what he called himself. Kana said, looking down at her feet. So a born-to-be loser mage. Aaron concluded, a hint of amusement in his voice. What romance? Kana asked. I wonder if someone like her can really learn new magic with just some books. He mused, his gaze fixed on Kana. But I was told that I learned things very fast. I was good at everything after all. Hannah also said that I'm good at doing the dishes. Kana exclaimed with desperation. Aaron simply stared at her. The scene shifted to a flashback, revealing a younger Aaron, asking a woman about magical abilities. How did you learn magic? Why do you ask? You don't have the brains to learn anyway, Aaron. Anyways, I was just desperate. On top of that, I was smarter than others too. I was a genius, she replied. So please don't abandon me. Kana pleaded, her eyes wide with desperation. Abandon? How ridiculous. Don't say stuff that can make others misunderstand. Aaron said, anyways, you're saying that you're at least willing to learn magic, right? He asked, turning back to Kana. Yes. Just give me the orders. She's been strangely influenced by that weasel. Should I hit him? Brother. Also, there's something I haven't told you yet, Kana said, her voice trailing off, a hint of nervousness in her tone. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed through the inn, followed by a commotion. Bro! Brother! Dylan exclaimed, rushing towards Aaron, his face pale with fear. We've got an issue, a big one. All the guys that we caught escaped, he exclaimed, his voice filled with panic. One of them we caught during the inspection, bit and broke apart the wooden shackles, and ran away. Not only that, he fought the armed guards without even a weapon, and I just so happened to be the one who restrained him by knocking him out. Dylan continued. This is bad. What should we do? He asked, his eyes wide with fear. Dunno. What happens to you isn't any of my business. Anyways, guard captain, they said we should gather at the headquarters right away. Dylan said, turning to Aaron. Aaron simply sighed. Hannah, keep the door locked since it's dangerous. Kanu, since you have clairvoyance, keep an eye out if anyone comes knocking. Aaron instructed. Yes. Have a safe trip, Kana replied. You need to go patrolling, Aaron said, grabbing Dylan's arm, pulling him away. Outside, the storm raged, lightning illuminating the deserted streets. You fools. The imprisoned guys escaped. Are you in your right mind? This is why we suggested replacing the wooden shackles with iron ones. I heard that the Byzantine fortress uses iron ones, a guard suggested. Who are you to be talking back? Do you know how much iron shackles cost? One iron shackle is worth 50 wooden ones, 50. Manuel shouted to his subordinates. Aaron, overhearing the conversation, simply sighed. Looks like that foolish method worked, seeing that they even escaped. That means they must have something going on, as they couldn't just be confidently locked up. A senior guard said to Aaron. Speaking of, I did some searching on the guy that escaped first. Turns out he's a fixer from Karzan. It seemed like he's pretty infamous in Karzan. Weasel actually managed to catch a guy like that. He must have at least given him a good smack on the head. Aaron thought. Suddenly, one figure approached them, their faces grim. What? One of them exclaimed. Who's the guard boss here? Hey, you scary-looking muscles, is it you? His gaze fixed on Aaron. Aaron simply stared back. What is this little shit, talking rudely to adults? He grabbed the man's head, his grip like iron. Ack! Let go! Please let go of me, the man pleaded, his voice filled with pain. Our teacher didn't do anything wrong. Please save him. Apparently the guy who brought that Karzan fixer was Lebby. Aaron, you know him, right? The coachman that occasionally came by to trade. The senior explained. We were being threatened, so we had no choice but to let them in. The man exclaimed. That stingy guy Lebby? Kiddo, as unfortunate as it is, we can't let him off regardless of our relationship if he escaped. Two men ran through the rain-soaked streets, following the trail of the escaped prisoners. Hugh, let's take a break before moving on, one of the men said, stopping to catch his breath. Damn it, these persistent guard bastards, he muttered. Why did these guys bring me along with them? I wasn't even thinking of escaping. The other man panted, his voice filled with exhaustion. Those Casertic guys are terrifying. To think they'd start bashing our heads right at the inspection. They already know us too well. That we're no better than humans if we get hit in the head, and just let it go. Wasn't that just them hitting us for no reason? Suddenly, a figure appeared behind them, his eyes glowing with an eerie light. Crap! It's the whistle again. Run in the opposite direction. One of the men exclaimed, his voice filled with panic. Know this? The other man said, his eyes widening in fear. They're luring us, he exclaimed, realizing the trap. A figure emerged from the shadows, his presence menacing. Is that a guard? Even so, just one person? There are even three of us, one of the men said, trying to sound brave. The figure attacked, his movements swift and deadly. He struck down one of the men. Awa! Is that human? Air voices filled with terror. The figure, now revealed to be Aaron, stood over the fallen men. You fucker! One of the men yelled, charging at Aaron, only to be swiftly struck down. Aaron, his movements precise and powerful, easily defeated the remaining men. The men, now defeated and lying on the ground, could only groan in pain. Out of all things, I'm meeting this devilish human as a prison breaker. Don't come any closer. I'm going to die. HH, he screamed as Aaron approached. Aaron grabbed the fallen men. What are you screaming for? And why did you even escape, making trouble for everyone? He asked. Your student is looking for you, go. Aaron said, his gaze fixed on the man. He then turned to see the boy and another man approaching, carrying a large umbrella. Furious, what a beautiful hug. His actions are rough and foul-mouthed, and sometimes a chaotic faraway who swings his fists around. But he may not be a character to judge solely based on his actions on a regular basis. The narrator's voice echoed, hinting at the complexity of Aaron's character. Have you found out which direction that fixer went? Aaron asked, turning to one of the men. I heard that he's hiding around in District 5. The man replied, District 5? Aaron thought, his eyes narrowing. That's the area where the laughing rabbit inn is. I need to hurry, he thought, his mind racing. He drew his sword, the blade gleaming in the darkness. His eyes flashed. With a swift movement, he struck down the man. That guy, it's that guy! Beat him up into a pulp, Dylan exclaimed, pointing at the escapee. Scar, his eyes glowing red, emerged from the shadows. I'm none other than the shadow of Casertic Fortress. It's Scar. Suddenly the figure appeared behind Scar. The figure, his movements swift and powerful, struck down Scar. Huh? That bastard, he's strong. I'm looking for a girl. A purple-haired girl. Have you seen her before? The scene opens with a fierce battle, Pool trying to ambush the escapee. The soldier delivering a powerful sidekick to Pool. The force of the blow sends the man flying backward, crashing to the ground with a thud. He is then stabbed in the gut, blood gushing out of the wound. Pool, his face contorted with rage, screams Dylan's name. Run, Dylan. He thinks to himself that this is insane, and that even with 3 people against him, it's still no use, the fight is hopeless. Dylan, in a flashback, apologizes to Pool for treating him like a real brother. Back in the present, Dylan asks if those who are destined to live must live. He curses, telling Pool to run and not leave him behind. He taunts the soldier, telling him he got his living snot beat out of him. Dylan adds, calling him a weak-ass bastard who fainted after getting hit once. The soldier's determined eye is shown. He delivers a devastating blow to Dylan, sending him crashing to the ground. Dylan coughs up blood, wondering where the hell the mysterious assailant shows up at moments like these. Dylan reflects on his miserable life, thinking that maybe there might be some meaning to it. Dylan screams at Aaron, telling him he's not here and that he's the one he needs. Water droplets splash. Suddenly, a powerful punch hit the soldier head. Aaron is delivering a powerful blow to opponent. Dylan looks on in shock. Weasel, what did you just say? Dylan is in a state of shock. Aaron mocks Dylan and asks if he's pretending to pass out. Aaron watches on, a bead of sweat on his brow. He remarks that both Dylan and Pool look like they're desperate to die. He then mocks the bald man, asking if he's the lame ass that got beaten up by Weasel. He then tells the bald man to brush his teeth, as he has a leaf stuck on the side. Aaron delivers a powerful strike. The bald man calls him a despicable little. Aaron smirks, saying that the real fool is the one who gets deceived. He unleashes a powerful attack. He then delivers another blow to the bald man. He follows up with another powerful kick. He finishes his attack with a final blow. Aaron mocks the bald man, wondering how he got knocked out by a mere weasel. Aaron then asks if he should return to farming. Aaron declares that he's looking for a person, a short girl with purple hair. He asks if the others have seen her before, a man with a scar on his face, and 2 men, one bald and the other with a shaved head. One of them remarks that the rabble from Karzan also had her. Aaron says it's strange to send a whole fixer for one beggarly mage, and that whoever sent him is frugal. Baldy, his face shrouded in darkness, says it seems like the man does know her, and that he won't be holding back anymore unless he leads him to her. His glowing red eye is shown. Dylan managed to strike Baldy from the back. He curses, saying that this bitch dares to target Purpley, blood dripping from his mouth. He then falls to the ground, unconscious. Aaron is panting, saying he wants to drink beer. The scene shifts to the exterior of a building. Dylan recounts the events, saying he left the injured alone and ran when the demonic guy came at him. He explains that he charged at the wall, but Aaron grasped the situation and dodged with a smooth slide. Aaron then joined in, and Dylan lost a sword in the guy's chest, causing blood to go everywhere. Aaron then enters, greeting Verman. Aaron, holding a basket, asks how everyone's injuries are, saying the basket is a visiting gift. Dylan and Kale are shocked, recognizing it as killer bread. The bandaged man says he can't eat because he's fasting. Silence filled the room. Verman remarks that there looks like there's a portion for the captain to eat too. The scene shifts to a room filled with people sitting around a table. What a beautiful lady. Aaron enters, saying he's back. He needed something to clean her mouth with. Aaron looks on. He asks Kana if she has any dreams for her future, something she wants to become or do. Kana is silent for a moment. She then says she wants to live. Aaron is taken aback. He smiles and says, "All right, I'll try my best." He then pats Kana on the head. Aaron moved to talk to Henna. Kana is lost in thought, saying she'll do her best. Dylan then advises Kana to aim for the back of the head if a guy like him comes squeaking nonsense. Inside the potion shop, Aaron inquires about the price of a low-quality potion. The shopkeeper, a portly man with a sour expression, informs him that they are almost out of even the lowest quality potions, and that each one costs 90 silvers. Aaron is taken aback by the high price, but the shopkeeper impatiently asks if he intends to buy or not, telling him to get lost if he's just going to waste time. Aaron struggles to hold his patience, a bead of sweat forming on his brow. He then questions the shopkeeper, Katup, about giving him the regular price, to which the shopkeeper replies that Aaron is obviously an honorary conventual. He explains that Priest Blyan and the Inquisitor personally appointed Aaron to this position. Aaron finds the title ridiculous, as the shopkeeper lowers the price to 50 silver coins per potion, much to Aaron's delight. "Is this the Holy Cartel?" Aaron exclaims, a wide grin spreading across his face. Eins, another conventual, thanks Aaron for the discount. Aaron brushes it off, saying it's nothing, and that it's an authority he's entitled to. Eins mentions that everyone is busy with preparations for the abbot's visit to Casertic Fortress, likening it to a division commander's visit. He then excuses himself to take care of other matters, bidding Aaron a safe return home. Aaron watches him leave. He reflects on the fact that there are some sensible people in the church, unlike Priest Blyan or the Inquisitor. Suddenly, he hears a loud thump and turns to see Joanna, the Inquisitor, eating a large piece of cheese. She is holding a large place of cheese in one hand, and taking large bites out of it, cheese falling to the floor. "Speaking of the devil," Aaron mutters, "the guy with no common sense appears." He wonders why she hasn't left yet. Joanna stomps towards Aaron, her imposing figure filling the doorway. She approaches him directly, extending an offer of cheese. With a sly smile, she turns and walks away. She pauses for a brief moment, before exiting through the door. Aaron watches her go, remarking that she's really not normal. He takes a bite of his own cheese, noting that it's sweet. Later, Aaron is informed that the peace officer is angry, though it's the fault of the Funner family, not them. He is told that there will be no off-duties for the next month. The mercenaries under Aaron's command are outraged by this news, calling the peace officer a demon pig. Aaron sighs, realizing that it's not the commander's fault. Still, he thinks a month without off-duty is too harsh. He then learns that the eldest son of the Funner family will be visiting soon, a knight candidate who never actually became a knight. Aaron laments that annoying things just keep happening. Suddenly, the peace officer calls out to him, saying that Nova seemed to be looking for him. Aaron realizes he forgot about something. Inside an office, Nova greets Aaron with a cheerful smile. She explains that a door is a space that people can move through, demonstrating how to open it. She then closes the door by pushing the door handle down, and dramatically reopens the door, asking if Aaron wants her to show him again. Nova, clearly exasperated, questions why he doesn't just use the door instead of smashing everything. He is always breaking things. She asks if breaking down walls is fun for Aaron, or if going through doors is too boring. Aaron retorts that he had no other choice, as he wouldn't break walls for fun. He explains that if he had been any later, the children would have been in danger. Nova sighs, massaging her forehead. She informs Aaron that the fees for the wall he broke will be taken from his bounty rewards, handing him a single silver coin, the amount left after the repair fees. Aaron throws the coin back to her, calling it a tip. He tells her to buy herself delicious things and have a glass of beer, as staying in her room too much will give her bone disease. Nova angrily shouts at him to get out, while Aaron smugly declares that he didn't break the door this time. Outside, Dylan asks Aaron if he was scolded by Nova again. Aaron replies that it was something along those lines, and that they should get going. He remarks that inspections where he can legally get money are more fun, but patrolling has its own way of being fun too. He explains that the medieval bastards cause trouble every day. A fight breaks out among the townsfolk, and Aaron intervenes, telling them to calm down. He suggests that whoever wins in a fight is the right one. He then bets 1 silver that the tiny guy will win, while another mercenary bets on the big guy. The crowd runs away, saying that they'll be eaten if Aaron catches them. Aaron wonders if he's an orc or something. He reflects that today is peaceful and wishes for something fun to happen. Just then a woman screams, accusing 3 people of stealing her silverware. Aaron and Kale arrive on the scene, and the woman claims that the silverware has been passed down through generations in her family. The 3 accused individuals, a bald man, a woman with crooked teeth, and a pale-skinned man, all deny stealing the silverware. Kale suggests that it's an annoying job, but Aaron declares that the culprit is among them. He asks the victim when the crime occurred. She explains that the silverware was gone when she went to eat breakfast, and she's sure it was done by the people who live near her. Aaron asks where everyone was from last night to this morning, and what they were doing. The bald man claims he was organizing hay, and went to sleep without eating dinner. Aaron finds this suspicious. The woman with crooked teeth refuses to talk, saying it's a personal matter. She again mentions having a silver mirror at home, which Aaron also finds suspicious. The pale-skinned man says he didn't set foot outside his home. The others point out that he's the most suspicious, as he's an outsider. Aaron decides to use his last resort. Even though he didn't want to go this far, he instructs everyone to lead the way to their own homes, unaware that this incident, which he took on out of boredom, would lead to that result.